Good morning once again. My name is Margaret Richard Magoma. I am the Secretary General of the Tanzania International Arbitration Center, which is a company limited by guarantee owned by Tanganyika Law Society for the purpose of administering alternative dispute resolution services. I take this opportunity to invite you all to the Tanganyika Law Society Diversity Conference, Professional Diversity Conference 2025. I stand before you specifically to read the biography of the moderator, and from there on, the moderator will proceed. Our moderator today is Dr. Elifura Laltaika, who is a senior law lecturer at Tumaini University, Makumira, and the former Harvard Law School visiting scholar, While at Harvard, he examined the intersection of mining and petroleum extraction and local community rights under the international law. He recently served as a visiting professor at the University of British Columbia, Canada. A Fulbright alumnus, Elifura's scholarly works have appeared in Edward Elgar Publishing, Elsevier, Duke University Press, Arizona Journal of Environmental Law and Policy, among others. So I take this opportunity to invite Dr. Laltaika, who will be our moderator today, to proceed.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a delight and a great pleasure to moderate this important meeting today. I met Margaret in her capacity when I was also seeking to be accredited as a mediator and arbitrator. And I invite anyone who is serving as an advocate and is yet to be accredited to get hold of Margaret for that matter. Something else I wish to mention here is that I'm an advocate of the High Court of Tanzania, and the reason why I say this is to contrast myself from His Lordship, Dr. Laltaika, who is my twin brother. Najua wengine walijua wako na jaji, so please, we are just identical twins. Uko na wakili mwenzako, so relax your muscles. Before I proceed, you'll see leaders here in front, and I wish to mention their names. Others would have different roles later, but most of you know Leticia Ntagazwa is our vice president. Please, let's clap hands for her. You can wave so that they know. And we also have Honorable Stella. Please wave. She's the Registrar of Land Dispute Settlement Tribunals. And of course, we have one of our own, Kefa, who is the program manager of TLS. Kefa and a few others have worked really hard to make sure that this event happens very successfully. So the theme of our conference is very exhaustive almost. It is about breaking barriers by building bridges in the cause of diversity and as a driver of professional excellence. So we have quite a lot of high-powered speakers who will come here, deliver keynote speeches, and I'll be reading their bios as they come. But I want to do something very little at the moment to welcome our Vice President to make a few words as a guest of honor. So she has quite some combined portfolios here to say a word of welcome on behalf of the Tanganyika Law Society. Madam Vice President, karibu sana. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Honorable Stella Turo, the Registrar of Land and Housing Tribunal, Honorable Kefa, he's also an advocate. Honorable Kefa Mbogera, the program officer, but here in this morning, representing the executive director for Tanganyika Law Society, Honorable Godson Nyange, the chairperson of the board for TIAC, and Honorable esteemed speakers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. I can't hear you. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Section 4. Section 4. TLS. We have our own greetings, which is Section 4 TLS. On behalf of the Tanganyika Law Society, it is my great honor to welcome you to the 2025 Professional Diversity Conference. Today we gather under the Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges, Diversity as a Driver of Professional Excellence, a theme that reflects our shared commitment, shaping a professional community that values inclusion, collaboration, and innovation. This conference brings together professionals from legal fraternity, financial sector, academia, technology, and other key industries. Our discussion today will explore critical issues that define the modern workplace, inclusive leadership and workplace culture, artificial intelligence and its legal, ethical, and practical implications, emerging opportunities in banking, finance, and fintech, and the importance of work-life balance and emotional intelligence in building sustainable careers. Each of these topics speaks directly to the challenges and opportunities that professionals face in a rapidly changing world. By engaging in open dialogue, sharing knowledge, and learning from each other's experience, we strengthen our collective capacity to drive excellence within our organization and across the country. I encourage each one of us to actively contribute, ask a question, network, and make the most of this unique platform. Let us use this space to bridge gaps, break down barriers, and inspire to one another toward great professional growth. With these remarks, I warmly welcome you all to this year's Professional Diversity Conference. I wish you fruitful deliberations and successful event. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause, please, for Madam Vice President, Advocate Leticia Ntagazwa. Right, ladies and gentlemen, what follows next is a very important session of photo taking. This event must be recorded, must be digitized. So we want to welcome everyone for a group photo. And I think Kefa may tell us how, or Margaret, whether there's any arrangement made to that effect. Where do you prefer us to do that? Because we have only 10 minutes for that exercise, after which we will hear an electrifying speaker, I assure you. We have a really, really important topic coming on inclusive leadership and workplace culture, and I don't want you to miss a bit of it. We have a seasoned speaker who is very, very knowledgeable on the matters, to be spoken about. So please, Secretariat, tell us how we are going to do that exercise very quickly and smoothly so that we can come back here. And if you prefer skipping that, I would be thankful. If you want to do arrangements for later, after the first speaker, We are flexible. Sawa kabisa. Thank you, Kefa. My own office risk being demolished, so I'm jealously safeguarding it. All right, so the first picture is with the guest speakers. So may I call in front all the invited guest speakers for a quick photo. Honorable Omar Mjenga, Advocate Wali, Mr. Jesse Ngoti, of course, and Dr. Shagembe. Dr. Shagembe, if you are here, please. Oh, great, excellent. Right. Thank you very much. The second picture is with the Secretariat. If you are here, Margaret and the others, please. Abdi. Excellent, thank you very much. Other photos are totally voluntary. So any other distinguished participant who wants to appear in our records is welcome. We have a few minutes. From this part, Wakili? Wakili? Anyone else? Excellent. Totally voluntary. Anyone on this side? Advocate Belinda? Or that makes it involuntary now? Karibu wakili. Excellent, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't see any other willing participant. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are ready for our first topic titled Inclusive Leadership and Workplace Culture. And our speaker, as you can predict, is none other than Honorable Omar Mjenga, NDC, and may he please come as I read this bio. Karibu Honorable Mjenga. When he's here, I'll start reading the bio. Honorable Omar Mjenga, NDC, is a seasoned and a distinguished senior diplomat of the United Republic of Tanzania. He brings over 31 years of public and international civil service experience. He was a private secretary to His Excellency Jakaya Kikwete, then Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. He served as a National Executive Secretary for the Helsinki Process on Globalization and Democracy, a process that led to the establishment of the Uongozi Institute. Honorable Omar Mjenga was the head of section of the UN agencies and the UN General Assembly at the United Republic of Tanzania Permanent Mission to the United Nations in New York. He also served as a member and president of the executive board of the UNDP, UNICEF, UNOP, you see today. He was a country director and a resident representative of UNOPS in Sierra Leone. He served as Tanzania's deputy ambassador and consul general to Dubai and Northern Emirates. Honorable Omar Mjenga holds a master degree, one of the National Defense College in Tanzania, where he was awarded the most prestigious, highest military award. And that's why he's referred to as NDC and as a symbol. He is a guru in diplomacy, protocol and etiquette, security and strategic leadership, and corporate governance. He is the current president and CEO for the Center for International Policy Africa, CIP Africa. He is an internationally recognized figure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't listened some clips from Honorable Mjenga, then you have no connections. It's now a great pleasure to welcome him. If you have heard about him or listened to his clips, now you have the opportunity to hear him live in this conference. Karibu sana mheshimiwa, you have the floor.
Habari za asubuhi. I think joto limeanza. Kabla hatujaanza joto limeanza. Labda niseme sitakuwa mkali sana, kwa hiyo joto litapungua. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. TLS. Section 4. Naisema section 4 lakini hata sijui inasema nini. Lakini najua inanigusa mimi na wewe. I don't know whether when I hold this mic I look like a musician from Kinshasa. Huh? More or less. Not Jibe Mpiana. I want to thank TLS for the invitation. I have more than many friends in TLS. Beginning to mention a few: Alex, Stola, Ruhumbika, Projectus, Sungusia, and others. And in this case, today I make more friends from this gathering. Na nimefurahi sana. Thank you so much. It's not easy when you are informed that a group of gathering of lawyers, they seek to invite you to speak to them. As a diplomat, I had, first of all, to go back to the Constitution and know exactly what I want to say when I come to Arusha. At least I know what I want to say. I say so because lawyers are very complicated creatures, just like the young Africans. Because in protocol, the color yellow means a complicated person. But a red color means authority. And that's the color for Simba. Yes. So yellow is a complicated person. So I know lawyers are very complicated. So I have to be very careful. And it reminds me of a legislator in the House of Commons who thought he knew English better than anyone there. And he said, "Mr. Speaker, do you know that sugar is the only English word? When you pronounce it, it starts with SH. Shu." Did you understand? Yeah? And his colleague, who was a lawyer, stood up and asked him, "Are you sure?" So that's why I have to be very careful when I speak to lawyers. Madam Deputy President, I know you are a very good time manager. You spent less than 3 minutes to deliver your speech. And in those 3 minutes, you raised 3 very important issues, which I want to echo. One is open dialogue is the way out. In diplomacy and in strategic leadership, we believe that the first step of solving a problem is by speaking out. And you cannot speak out if you don't come to the table. So open dialogue. Number 2, sitoi bastola hapa. Number two, you spoke about bridging professional gaps. Tunataka ionekane. Tuirudishe. You spoke about bridging professional gaps, and you can only do that with such a conference on diversity on professions. Thank you. And the other one, the last point I gathered was breaking the barriers for cooperation. All professions need to cooperate in order to address our pressing issues. I think I should say a very excellent speech given in less than 3 minutes. Now, let me come back to what brought me to Arusha, all the way from Dar es Salaam. I have been introduced, and I don't think I need to say anything about that. Though in one conference which I attended in Helsinki, the former president of Ireland, Mary Robinson, was asked to introduce Nelson Mandela. When she stood and said, "I've been given a very simple task to introduce a person who does not need an introduction." But when Mandela stood, he said, "Mary, you are wrong, because I went to Sun City in South Africa when he was president, and there was a couple alongside the swimming pool. When the wife saw Mandela, she shouted to the husband, 'Darling, darling, come and see Mandela.' And the husband shouted back, 'Who is Mandela?' So I'm sure some of us may be asking, who is Omar? I've been asked to speak about inclusion in leadership. And before I go to that, I want to show you the 5 pillars of leadership, the P's. When we talk of leadership, the first pillar is the people. You can't be called a leader if you have no people to lead. So this is the first important and complicated P, because people think, people react, people respond. So as a leader, you need to be very careful when you manage people. Know that they have the social part of it and the economic part. So we ask, what kind of a leader are you when you are managing people? The way you manage the people will tell us the kind of a leader you are. The second one is the purpose. The second P has got 2 sections. A is the purpose, why you are in this room today. And we also look at an individual performance as a leader. Wewe kama naibu rais wa TLS, what is your performance? Sasa hivi mnakwenda 2 years or 1 year? 3 years. What should we expect from the president in these 3 years? Nimesikia kuna mtu anaitwa CEO. Nimesikia kuna mtu anaitwa Secretary General. That is under performance. B is, what is the performance of TLS? Yesterday when I came, I was reading your vision outside there. January 2025, did you put parameters to be measured in December for the performance of TLS. Today is 5th December. What is the percentage of performance of TLS in this year? What impact have you brought based on your vision, performance of TLS? Then you have properties that assist you in your daily operations. And the last one is personality. This talks 100% about yourself as a leader. What kind of a leader are you? In the US, someone is measured, someone is grilled on how that person manages the family to become the president. So we want to know these leaders in TLS and other institutions, what is your personality? The first level of becoming a leader is managing yourself. That is a leadership role. And the second level is managing others. You cannot manage yourself. If you cannot manage yourself, you cannot manage others. So what is your personality? Personality has got so many things. The way you speak to those under you, the way you speak to those above you, and the way you speak to your colleagues, the way you treat diversity. And one aspect of diversity is you don't have an institution, TLS, for men. You have TLS for everyone. So how do you treat women in TLS as a leader? Or how do you treat men in TLS as a leader? How do you dress? I'm happy that I speak to a group which has a dress code. In many institutions, dress code is a problem. But if you see a lawyer, a magistrate, a judge, you immediately know this is a learned brother or a learned sister. Though you don't see us as learned as well, but I want to tell you we are also learning. Okay? So your personality also will include the way you dress. How much time do you spend in a bar? Kuna watu humu ndani saa 7 unawakuta Rose Garden. Alafu kesho yake ana case. Sema, is this a lawyer? Is this a member of TLS? We will look at you by looking at those things. What is inclusive leadership? Are you all members of TLS? Right? Do you have a sense of belonging to TLS? Huh? Do you feel the leadership in TLS is inclusive? Do you think the president is consultative? Do you think the vice president, by the way, ni sheria kwamba rais akiwa mwanaume, vice president mwanamke, sio? Mimi nadhani iwe hivyo. Akiwa mwanamke awe mwanamume. Gender, mimi ni pioneer wa UN Women in New York. So I feel so happy, though I don't see a lot of, I see a lot of women in the room. Hongereni sana. Inclusive leaders must create cultures of belonging. When you are asked, where do you work? You proudly say, I work with TLS. I work with the High Court of Tanzania. I work with the National Housing as a lawyer. Do you feel that belonging? Because in that institution we have inclusive leadership. Inclusive leadership makes everyone feel I have a role to play and I have a chance to thrive, to develop, to move from the step A to B. Then who is a leader? How can you describe a leader? who we think is inclusive. You must be a servant. Mtumishi. Most of us all here, we have servants at home, right? Wale houseboys, house girls. Ukiwa kiongozi, you must be ready to be a servant. When you are a leader, you serve. Servant leadership. You must suffer on behalf of the led. I see the president suffering on behalf of TLS. I see the president in his press conferences bitterly speaking about justice. He is suffering on behalf of the justice seekers. Nyinyi wote mliopo ndani, mko tayari kuwa hivyo? Swali gumu, halina majibu. Mko tayari? So you must suffer on behalf. Inspiring. How many of you in this room have been told, nikiwa mkubwa nataka kuwa kama wewe? Wangapi? Hakuna. That means you have not inspired. Nikiwa mkubwa nataka niwe kama master of ceremony. Hujawahi kuambiwa master of ceremony? Hujawahi? Umeambiwa? Nikiwa mkubwa nataka kuwa kama wewe. Sasa una nini so that huyo mtu akiwa mkubwa awe kama wewe? What do you have? That is inspiration. Empowering. Leadership is about empowering. Ukiona kiongozi does not empower his or her team, is a failed leader. How do you empower? Let those you lead to lead you. It's very difficult in leadership. Unaacha nafasi yako. You give a junior officer to lead you. We think sometimes being a leader, you know everything. That's not true. In the United Nations, one of the best systems I like, a junior officer will tell the Secretary General, Mr. Secretary General, you are wrong. Let me give you the correct information. But tell one of your leaders that you are wrong. Kama uko serikalini, ujiandae kufukuzwa. This is a very unpalatable myth that being a leader, you know everything. That's not true. A good leader is the one who leads from behind. Being visionary, the future. Do you have visionary leadership in TLS? Do you have visionary leaders in your institutions where you come from? Wewe ni kiongozi mndani. Do you think you are a visionary leader? Mjiulize hayo maswali. Don't give me the answers. Provide those answers to yourself. Do you make decisions? A leader who cannot make decisions is just like Azam boat on a dry land going to Zanzibar. Ni kama boat ya Azam on a dry land trying to go to Zanzibar. If a leader cannot make decisions. And here we have problems with many leaders. Mnategeana in making decisions. Ili kilipuka aseme ni fulani. That's not leadership. If you think you have this trait of leadership, better get off from the seat. A good communicator. Kuku yuko tayari kula. Does that mean the chicken is ready to eat? Or the chicken is ready to be eaten? Una communicate to an officer, kuku yuko tayari kula, without clarity. So a leader must be a good communicator. Clarity. Emotional intelligence. How do you manage your anger? How do you manage your feelings? And how do you manage your emotions? Kuna clip moja huwa naiweka and I don't shy saying this, between Jerry Muro na mkurugenzi mbele ya mkuu wa mkoa. That was zero emotional intelligence. We don't do that as leaders. Okay? You criticize in private. You praise in public. So manage your emotions. Building relationships. Most leaders, they have been trapped creating groups, factions. One faction is called touchable, and the other faction is untouchable. Do we have these groups in TLS? Madam Vice President. Yeah? Wako untouchable. Hawagusi kwa sababu ni watu wa rais. Hawagusi kwa sababu ni watu wa Vice President. When you have a trip abroad, the untouchables wako kwenye delegation. That's not leadership. You must build teams. Innovative. You will be in TLS top leadership for 3 years. Mwaka umesha katika, sio? You have 2 years. What innovation have you brought to the institution? Msiwe viongozi akiletewa file na kubali. Without any comment. Tekeleza. Without any comment. I think a strategic leader will raise some questions. What do we get out of this participation? What expense is involved? Tekeleza na kubali, it's not leadership. Then, diversity. A leader who recognizes we don't have Chagas only in TLS. We don't have younger members only in TLS. Tena humu ndani nimegundua Simba ni wengi sana. Si ndio? Wana Simba wenzangu mpo? Yes. Hata makamu wa rais ni Simba. Sasa wewe Yanga unatafuta nini humu ndani kama wewe ni Yanga? Bosi wako mwenyewe ni Simba. Anza na huyu bwana. Na rais ni Simba. Mmesikia hiyo? Kasema makamu wa rais. So, diverse. How do you manage diversity? Sasa hivi we have a problem on managing Gen Zs at work. Gen Zs sio watu wa kuambiwa subiri. Gen Z sio watu wa kuambia usije ofisini na jeans imechanika. Wao wanaangalia what I bring on the table. Okay? So you must have skills. Hawa is a diverse group. And I doubt kama kwa mfano in government service, you go all the way to 60 years to retire. I don't see Gen Zs going to 60 years in one organization. I don't see that. So how do you manage such diversity in TLS? Oh, what has happened with this? Anyway, nilitaka niwaonyeshe how Desmond Tutu describes a leader. I don't know why it's not playing on. Okay. The next slide is about legacy building. Okay? Hawa ni marafiki zangu hawa, lakini wote ni marehemu. I wanted to play this. Yep. Si kwa nini haiji? Yep. Okay. It's there. Yep.
In your opinion, makes a good leader? What qualities?
Yes, it's a question that we've had to deal with quite a bit, looking at some of the leaders we have had who have sometimes led their countries into disastrous situations. a leader who is also a servant. When you look at some of the greatest leaders, Nelson Mandela is someone who is not in it for his own aggrandizement. He best that is in the people, the aspirations of the people. And yes, it is someone who can inspire.
What, in your opinion,
It's because of this, because of this, because of this.
I go to the next. Ina ekwe. So leadership is about legacy building. We have these two gentlemen. Mmoja anaitwa Sekou Toure, huyu hapa. Na mwingine anaitwa Jakaya Kikwete. Mnawafahamu eh? Ha? Learned brothers and sisters, mnamfahamu Sekou Toure? Ha? Gen Z yuko wapi hapa ndani? Do we have Gen Z? Ha? Wako wengi eh? Huyu anaitwa Sekou Toure. Ha? Na huyu ni Jakaya Kikwete. These are some of the leaders who have left a legacy. Julius Nyerere and Nelson Mandela. Julius Nyerere is known for nation building. Taifa moja. Nelson Mandela is known for forgiveness. When he came out of the huge door at Robben Island, he raised his fist and said, "Forgiveness begins here." Ila angekuwa rafiki yangu huyu 27 years in jail. Kitu cha kwanza ameshika madaraka ni kwanza kulipiza. Maana jeshi analo. But this guy said, forgiveness begins here. And we always say, anayesamehe ana faida kubwa kuliko anayesamehewa. So as leaders, forgiveness must be one of your vocabularies. Because you are leading the first P, the people who make mistakes. Now wewe mwenyewe you are among the first P. You're a person and you make mistakes. So build a legacy in leadership. A genuine leader, ukijipima wewe mwana TLS, the one seated in this gathering, do you have these qualities? You listen 80%, you speak 20%. In diplomacy we say, hands off, eyes and ears on. Speak less, but listen more. The rule is 80%, 20%. 20% for your mouth, and 80% for your ears. Do you admit your mistakes? How many of us here admit our mistakes, especially in front of our juniors kwamba hapa nilikosea. Most of the leaders think admitting mistakes is a weakness. It is not. Do you lift others? Desmond Tutu anasema, a good leader is the one who builds nests for others. Anafuma viota kwa ajili ya wengine. How many have you lifted since you became vice president of TLS? How many have you lifted since you became the secretary general? We will measure your leadership skills by the people you lift up. Many leaders see their best staff, their smart staff, as a threat. And therefore, nyundo. That's not leadership. The smartest staff that you have should be your AK-47 for success. Do you set boundaries kindly? Sisi tulianza kazi foreign pale, tumekuta wakaka wale wakubwa sema, wewe junior officer ni nani kuzungumza na mimi? Who are you? Don't set boundaries that way. Set it kindly. Kabla hujafika kwa mkurugenzi, pita kwa mkuu wa idara au mkuu wa kitengo. Unamshauri staff. Don't be arrogant. Validation. Kuna watu wakifanya jambo wanataka waambiwe, hapa nimefanya vizuri. Speech yangu ilikuwa nzuri. Imewavutia. You are seeking validation. Fulani ananisemaje uongozi wangu? Vice President. Umeuliza hayo maswali mara ngapi? Nyinyi mliopo ndani, how many times have you asked these questions? Fulani anasemaje uongozi wangu? When you see a leader asking these questions, that leader has no confidence at all. And lastly, do you respect everyone? Diversity. Do you see the cleaner as the CEO? Na wauliza nyinyi, especially viongozi vijana, cleaners, they are not CEOs. Utasikia unanijua mimi nani? Akiwa ni DC waambia na masaa mangapi ya kuweka ndani? Ni 48. Right? Unanijua mimi nani? Once you see a leader anauliza maswali ya, that's not a leader. So I expect inclusive leadership to avoid these mistakes. Everyone is a leader. Even a cleaner is a leader. If you are at the bottom of the organizational chart, even if you are, you can still be a leader. Leadership is a behavior, not a title. Being an inclusive leader, it's a behavior. If you don't have this, ndio unasikia unanijua mimi ni RC, unajua mimi ni mkurugenzi, unajua mimi ni rais wa TLS, mimi ni RPC. It's not about the title. Inclusive leadership must create a space for value. Kwamba wherever you're working, kama ni serikalini, kama ni public enterprise, kama ni private, you feel valued. Your contribution is valued. You feel accepted. In a meeting like this, mtu anazungumza sema, mchango mzuri sana. Si unasema, huna point, kaa chini. Kuna mbunge mmoja alimwambia, hujui chochote, kaa chini. Mnamkumbuka kesi? Do you know ile story ya mkuu wa wilaya ya Nyamagana when Lowassa was the prime minister? Do you know that story? Alianza kusoma taarifa ya wilaya. Kafika katikati waziri mkuu akamwambia, huna taarifa, kaa chini. Mbele ya umati. Yule bwana hakukaa. Akamwambia mheshimiwa pia, mimi nimewahi kuwa kiongozi kabla yako. Jeshini nilikuwa bosi wako. Lakini pili, hii taarifa rais alikuwa hapa 2 weeks ago. Nimemsomea akasema mkuu wa wilaya, thumbs up. Wewe nani kuikataa? Sasa as a leader ukimfikisha the one you lead hapo, atakwambia wewe nani? Na umfanye chochote. Right? Ukila wali sana kuna disadvantages. Ukinywa maji sana nako kuna shida. Tena sasa hivi doctors don't encourage too much drinking of water. Sasa mwingine anakuambia kunywa maji sana, mwingine anakuambia usinywe sana. Wanatuchanganya tu. Na ndio maana sitaki kusema, unajua, ngoja nikae kimya. Kuna haya mabao ya kubebwa kwenye offside, unapewa bao alafu unashangilia. Hivi kweli how do you feel? Kweli timu unabebwa offside, bao unaliona kabisa alafu unashangilia. How do you feel as a team? Nadhani mmenielewa. So kuna disadvantages za kubebwa, kuna disadvantages. In fact, mimi mwana Simba nikiona tumepewa bao la offside nasema this was offside. Lakini wenzetu leading and delivering as one. Inclusive leadership. Value. Inclusion metrics. Accommodations. Championing for accommodations. Collaborative decision making. How many times do you make a decision without consulting others? How many times as a leader? Alafu ikiharibika unasema wewe unajua mkuu wa idara fulani ndio alinishauri. Take responsibility for your decisions. Equitable opportunities. Empathy and active listening. Viongozi wengi, they lack the active listening. They rush into making decisions without even seeking for feedback. The feedback system. Then you have the psychological safety. Hapo ulipo unakofanya kazi, do you feel safe? Has the leadership made the environment to be safe for you to exist? Psychological safety. Many people leave or resign from institutions not because of low salary. It's because of a bad boss. Anasema kuliko niendelee kuteseka, kudhalilika, bora niondoke. Ni wangapi wamekuwepo kwenye situation kama hizo? Ni wangapi wewe kama kiongozi you have created a situation like this? Unazima mishumaa ya watu, unazima taa za watu, nyota za watu. Wakati mshumaa wako mmoja ukiwasha mwingine mnapata mwanga zaidi. Na haupungui mwanga hata kidogo. So a leader awe ni wakuwasha mishumaa kwenye hiki chumba. Everybody, if I am the leader na washa mishumaa yenu, tutakuwa na mwanga zaidi ndani. And I don't lose mwanga kwenye. So psychological safety. How inclusive are you? Courage? Do you empower? Are you compassionate? Do you create belongingness, collaboration, and authenticity? Do members in your team bring their whole selves to work? Kuna mtu akifika Jumatatu anajua leo natakiwa kazini, anaugua ghafla. Because the environment ni Kandahar. Because the environment at work is Gaza Strip. Because the leader at work is Osama bin Laden. He's a terrorist. Kwenye corridor akimuona kiongozi mtu unakata kona. Because he's a terrorist. Hata ukitoka maliwato na kwambia ulikuwa wapi? Huna nafasi ya kupumua. So, that's not inclusive leadership. The model, inclusive, transformational, and transformative, is what makes inclusivity in leadership. Dimensions, psychological safety nimesema, hizi zingine zote, inclusion confidence. Do you create the inclusion confidence kiasi kwamba in every institution, every staff, when he has something to contribute, feels that he can do that, feels free. Kuna watu, junior officers, anabeba folder, anakwenda ofisini kwa boss. Akifika mlangoni anabadili mawazo, anarudi ofisini kwake. Why? Kwa sababu akiingia mle ndani, it will be a battlefield. That's not leadership. Create the confidence and inclusive culture. This is what I expect from you. Wewe kama kiongozi, unazo sifa hizi za uongozi jumuishi. Hizi hapa. Unamtambua na kumpa nafasi kila mtumishi in your organization, in TLS, in government, in private. Do you create that space for everyone to speak out and to breathe? The culture. Shared values, behaviors, atmosphere of the organization. It shapes employees how to interact and how to air their views. Ina influence leadership, communication, company values. Kwenye roll-up ya TLS, sijaona company values. What are your company values? Employees' satisfaction and their safety. It can lead to stress and disengagement if the culture is not built in an organization. How do you live as a family? Mwenzenu akipata shida, mpo. Aliko, mpo. Uliko, tupo. That culture, purpose, well-being, appreciation. Are you being appreciated? As a leader, do you appreciate your team members? Viongozi wengine, they think appreciation needs money. Even writing an appreciation letter, does it cost you $5? No. So, appreciation, success, create opportunities for everyone. Psychological safety at work. How flexible is the leader? Stability. How do you give independence and interdependence? How do you give orders? Create safety, authority. Do you give authority to your members? Do you check on results? Is there enjoyment? Kuna kipindi mwalimu kwenye cabinet alikataza mawaziri kulewa. Sasa mawaziri wakawa wajanja kuliko mwalimu. Pale Ikulu wakawa wanakwenda na mawine, chupa za wine. Wanamwambia driver, hii imeandikwa Mwapachu, peleka chooni kule. Sasa kwenye cabinet watu wanasema, mheshimiwa, natoka. Sasa mwalimu akagundua kila waziri anayetoka akirudi ana smile. Akasema hebu nisubiri. Sasa kila akirudi ndio ana smile zaidi. Anavuta na suruali kijuu vizuri. Akasema kuna nini? Akamtuma mlinzi, hebu kaangalie why ministers wakirudi they are smiley. Akakuta wines zimepangwa chooni. Mwambukusi, manani, kila moja na ya kwake. Kumbe ile short call anapiga kidogo ndio anarudi kwenye cabinet meeting. Sasa mwanadamu anataka enjoyment. So do you create space for this? Learning and purpose. The iceberg. This is what you see in a company with workplace culture. This is what you don't see in a company without workplace culture. Organizational culture is not about going out for dinners together na staff wako. Organizational culture is not about going to the beach with your staff. A culture must be built by the leader. Okay? Na watu wengi wanasema organizational culture unaandaa party. Then unawaambia kila mmoja aje na mke wake na watoto. Sasa ukitaka kujua families have problems, yule anayekuja peke yake unajua haelewani na mkewe au mumewe. Sasa angalia asiyekuja na familia, angalia performance yake. You will find problems. So that's one of the ways you can know what is happening at home na staff wako. So this is not what is not seen, this is what is seen, and that's the iceberg. When you tolerate toxic behavior, it kills the culture. Promoting self-serving leaders, ubinafsi. Ikija safari ni huyu wa jana, or last week, or last month. Neglect work-life balance. You have to balance between work and life. Hawa ni watu. Ndio maana tumeanza na ile first P. Wanasema kazi na utu. Neno utu lina maana sana. Mtu anakuambia, leo nimeshindwa kufika ofisini, I'm not feeling well. Wewe bwana mdogo, nitakukata mshahara. Njoo ofisini. This is not right. Punish mistakes harshly. Mtu amefanya kosa kidogo tu, nakimbilia kumwandikia barua ya dismissal. You kill the culture. And you ignore employees' feedback. Colin Powell said, the moment you see if you are the head of a battalion, the junior officers are no longer coming to report, to knock your door, to bring their problems, to seek for advice, that's the day you have stopped to be their leader. They have seen you as staff. Integrity, service, excellence, and merit. In TLS, uchawa is what it promotes a person. Ukiona taasisi mkuu, when you promote the wrong people, the best will leave. Ubaki nao machawa wako. Ubaki nao machawa wako. Threat culture. Mtu akiwa na skills, akiwa na akili, ni junior officer, wewe kiongozi, you feel threatened. Nilisema huyu awe AK-47 wako. Huu ni utamaduni wa ajabu sana katika taasisi nyingi. When you fail to promote skills. Na taasisi nyingi zimepoteza staff kwa uoga wa viongozi kuwa walio chini wana akili, wana uwezo, huenda wakachukua nafasi zetu. That's not inclusive leadership. Remember, one of the aspects of an inclusive leader is empowering. Sasa ukini empower alafu unanipa meno alafu niambie nisingate. That's not proper. So, having access to people smarter than you is a blessing. It's not a threat. Okay? Mfukuza kazi. Then your culture is broken. Micromanagement is a sign of insecurity. Unaingia ofisini leo, kaingia anafanya nini? Kila ofisi utakwenda mara ngapi? Wewe utafanya kazi mara ngapi? Empower your team, trust your team. You don't have to do the MBO system, managing by walking around. Trust, dear CEO. You have employed adults, not children. Trust them. Dear Madam Vice President, the members of TLS are not kids. They're adults. Trust them. Build a culture of trust. And finally, business card protocol. This is my business card. And business card protocol ni nipe, nikupe. Okay? Nimemaliza, asanteni sana.
Kabisa. Thank you, Mr. Omar. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that has been quite loaded. Gen Zs wangesema ni madini tupu. Now, in academia, I belong to that cadre. We believe that everything is subject to interrogation. I therefore open this floor now for anyone who wants to interrogate. You can ask questions, you can add, you can subtract. So we are free now to do that. But I tried to put myself in the shoes and minds of most of you here. And two things come up after this powerful talk. Number one, some of you are thinking you wish your bosses were here to listen to this talk. Uongo kweli? Kwa kuna wengi I say angekuwepo hapa asikilize. But some of you are the bosses. So Mr. Omar Mjenga was addressing you, and you were like, I wish I had this before. Probably I wouldn't have lost some of my AK-47s. Either way, I think it is coming at the right time, and we need to really change, amend, flexibility of leaders to take advantage of what we have learned now. So naomba nione mikono. The secretariat will assist me here in making sure you are given. Walid, tafadhali, karibu sana. Our former vice president. No, you will get the mic for the sake of online participants.
Thank you. I must say I've attended many conferences and leadership talks, and this is one of the best I have come across in years of attending these talks. So thank you very much, Mr. Omar. When you spoke about employers and employees being in the room, I'm definitely an employer, so I've heard you. But my question is, as an employer, I keep hearing within my office that this person is toxic, or huyu jamaa anasambaza sumu ofisini. There is always that one person ambaye anasambaza sumu or is toxic. Now, my question is, as a leader, when you keep listening to this, and when you don't have proof, of course, because this toxicity is sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes in the dining room, sometimes anaweza akawatoa watu nje wakakutana, and then they're just having drinks. So there is no proof of toxicity. How do you manage or handle such a person as a leader, so that you can avoid that toxicity to spread? Because that thing spreads really fast, and then you find the work culture being affected. Thank you.
Excellent. And I think that comes on the background of your comment, our speaker, because you said don't ignore rumors. Kinachoongelewa kwenye corridor kama kiongozi uzisikilize. Kwa hiyo wakili Wali anauliza, and sometimes there's very scanty evidence to the rumors. What do you do in the circumstance? Any other question? I think we'll take 3, and then we give the speaker the opportunity to respond. Mwingine? President.
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Omari, kwanza niseme tu kwamba mimi ni mfuasi wako sana. Ingekuwa ni kwenye siasa tungesema mimi ni chawa wako. Sasa sitaki kuwa chawa. Mimi ni mfuasi wako sana, na niseme tu kwamba kwanza tunashukuru kwa presentation, lakini pia tunakushukuru na kuendelea kumuomba Mwenyezi Mungu akupe uhai mwema, kwa sababu umekuwa ukifanya kazi kubwa sana katika taifa hili kuhakikisha kwamba unapika viongozi tunakuwa kwenye maadili yanayopaswa tuwe nayo. Kwa hiyo tunakushukuru sana. Inapokuja issue sasa ya trust, uaminifu, umeongea vizuri sana, na hasa kwenye law firm zetu. Bahati nzuri mawakili wengi walioko hapa wote wana ofisi zao, wana law firm zao. Huwa tunakuwa na changamoto kubwa sana kwa mawakili wanaume kutrusti mawakili wanawake, kwamba they are capable na wanao uwezo wa kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanaleta matunda yale yanayopaswa. Kwa hiyo nilikuwa naomba uendelee kulisisitiza hili kwa mawakili waweze, na hasa kwenye taasisi na hata katika taasisi yetu ya TLS, kuweza kuwa na imani kubwa kwa wanawake kwamba they can do it, na wanapopewa nafasi kwa kweli ni watu ambao ni wabunifu, ni watu ambao ni waaminifu, ni watu ambao they are so hard working to the extent kwamba law firm yako ukimtumia vizuri mwanamke utaiona inakuwa haraka kuliko hata unavotumia wanaume wenzako. Asante sana.
Thank you, Vice President. Excellent question to the right person. A believer in diversity, gender inclusion, one of the foreign, you took part in the establishment of UN Women. There's someone else there, tafadhali, karibu.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Joseph Gideon Kami, the Vice Chairperson of TLS Association of Young Lawyers. I'm highly interested in asking this question on behalf of we young lawyers, that how can we young lawyers report toxic behaviors of our employers without risking our careers and future briefs? That's my brief question.
Excellent question. I think also how to balance. It's like walking on eggs without breaking them. It's very interesting to hear your perspectives. How would they avoid risking their employment opportunities while also addressing toxicity within the workplace from their seniors? Abdi, I see you have someone there. Karibu sana. I think that will be the last question. And then in the second round, Wakili Wasonga, you'll be the first speaker. Karibu sana.
Asante, facilitator. Mimi naitwa Manase Ndoroma. Nimewahi kufanya kazi chini ya kiongozi ambaye ilikuwa akitaka kutambulisha kwa wageni, anasema I work for these guys. Hasemi these guys work for me, I work for these guys. Mimi nilikuwa nanisumbua kidogo hilo neno. Baadaye nilipomuuliza akasema ni kazi yangu mimi kutafuta resources zinazowezesha nyie kudeliver. Bado mimi na utata kwenye hilo mpaka sasa hivi, miaka karibu 7-8 baada ya hapo. Ningependa nisikie kutoka kwako kwamba don't you think this is too much submission, na inaweza kumportray kiongozi kama kwa namna fulani mtu dhaifu? Tapenda kusikia maoni yako. Asante.
Excellent. And Mr. Ndoroma is a seasoned leader, very inspirational. So I would hesitate answering his question because I think it has much more than that. But I'm sure it's an excellent question that will open up a lot of other discussions. How do you portray that you are humble, you are inclusive, without showing that you are probably unfit for that position, or abdicating firm leadership? Ladies and gentlemen, let me now allow Mr. Omar to respond to those, and then we'll come to the last cycle. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Excellent questions. I think let me start with the last question. I work for these guys. Even myself, I work for you. Ukitizama the comments kwenye Instagram, you know, the followers wanao follow the clips, then DM matatizo ya watu. Natamani ningalikuwa na uwezo kuyatatua. Wengine ya kazi, wengine wamestaki completely, wengine wamekuwa laid off. Na sikujua kwamba it had this huge impact. So that's when I knew that I'm also trying to work for the people. A leader should be a servant. And being a servant, you serve the people. Without working for them, they will never work for you. Instructions come from you as a leader. And ndio maana tunasema a good leader is the one who shows the way, then leads from behind. Huwa tunasema when you are a leader, make sure the led leads you. That's the meaning of being a servant leader. Huyo kiongozi ni mzuri sana. Wakili msome. I hope na wewe utakuwa kama yule kiongozi. Yeah, he was working for you. Wakati mwingine halali to think about the next step. When there is a crisis, everybody looks, where is the leader? Usiwe kiongozi when there is a crisis unasema, oh jamani tumekufa. Sasa sisi waliopo chini yako, kama kiongozi anasema tunakufa, tujiandae kufa tu. So it's true, that guy is a servant leader. Joseph, vice chairperson. Gen Z, ulisema? Yeah, the young lawyers. These people have great ambitions. Sio mbaya kuwa na ambitions, lakini manage the ambitions. Okay? It's very important. How do you report a toxic leader? Kwenye organizational culture, there is an aspect of whistleblowers, anonymous. Do you allow whistleblowers kwenye kampuni yako? There must be a whistleblower. There is also a second way, communicating anonymously. Ndio maana tunasema any rumor must not be ignored. So it's very easy. You can discuss among your peers, but be very careful kwa sababu siku hizi kuna uchawa. Unaweza kama unazungumza na chawa akayapeleka yote kama yalivyo. Unashangaa barua ya kuachishwa kazi, unasema nimefanya kosa gani, kumbe chawa ana celebrate somewhere. Na unfortunately chawa hata akikuchawia hapewi ile nafasi yako. So wakati mwingine kwa kweli huwa anashangaa. So sometimes it's better to discuss among your peers, but whistleblower and anonymous communications. Madam Vice President, asante kwa maneno yako. And this gathering is discussing diversity. I know men who cannot work with women. I know them. Mimi watoto wangu wa kike nikiwapima, they are more brighter than the brothers. One is a doctor, the other one is an engineer. None of the brothers is a scientist. Kwa hiyo, if you disgrace women, I think women are the most viumbe wenye akili sana duniani. Kama mlikuwa hamjui, hata kwenye misaafu wanasema baada ya Mwenyezi Mungu wanafuata mama. So mimi I feel so offended when I see men cannot work with women. Sijui shida ni nini. But also I have seen women who cannot work with women. Nimeona mabosi wengine watoto wa kike kwao ni kama wamewapelekea shetani. Sijui shida iko wapi. So managing diversity is a critical skill to have as a leader. Huyu mwanamke ni binadamu. She's a human being. Na dunia ya sasa kwa kweli, I will be surprised to see we have men with such behaviors. When we started UN Women, kulikuwa na maandamano nje ya UN pale, kwamba what about UN men? Wanaume walitaka tuanzishe na UN men. But we make mistakes when we talk of gender. Gender is not about women. Gender is about both. There is gender equality and gender equity. Kwa hiyo kwa kweli mawakili mliopo ndani mmesikia, na aliyesema ni makamu wa rais. Hamuoni, hamtambui michango ya mawakili kina mama. Subiri siku jaji mkuu akiwa mwanamke mtakoma. Sawa jamani? So I think we are all equal kabisa. Kwa hiyo please, hii diversification ya kufanya kazi na kina mama, tujenge imani kwa kina mama. We are born from mothers, we have sisters, we have wives, we have daughters. They are all women. Wali, msambaza sumu ofisini. As a leader, what do you do? Mimi kwanza nasema, if you allow that, you have failed as a leader. Sumu kama iko ofisini, gossiping iko ofisini, kiongozi kuna tatizo pahala. You are not doing your job. Ukiona kuna msambaza sumu in your office, deal with that perpendicularly as a leader. Sema samaki mmoja akioza ukamwacha kwa wale wengine hawajaoza, baada ya dakika 5 wote wataoza. So wote watakuwa ni sumu creators. So that indicates shida ya uongozi. Sasa kama wako ofisini kwako, I will advise you to deal with that immediately. Number 2, a good leader must be analytical. Not every information brought to your desk you act upon without evidence. Nyinyi wanasheria mnakwenda kwa ushahidi. Justice inahitaji ushahidi. I always say this, President Kikwete after 1 year being president, aliulizwa kwenye conference na wahariri, Mr. President, what one mistake you did in this 1 year unajutia? He said, ni pale nilipoletewa majungu nikamfukuza kiongozi. Alikuwa katibu mkuu. Na baada ya kujua ni majungu akamreinstate. So, kiongozi lazima uchambue kila taarifa inayokuja kwako. And ask yourself, how many times have you ruined someone's path by not being analytical? Ni wangapi umewaumiza kwa majungu as a leader? That's very important. Kulikuwa na rumor ya mke wa mfalme, King Solomon. You know this story? Huh? Kwamba mke wa mfalme anatembea nje ya ndoa. Ikamdisturb sana the king. But the king decided to form a commission of inquiry. An independent commission. Kamteua huyu bwana, kamteua yule pale, kamteua Mwambukusi na yule bwana Joseph. Siku 7 mlete taarifa. The commission of inquiry cleared madam kwamba haya ni majungu mfalme, sio kweli. Mfalme akasoma taarifa akamuita mke wake, mke wangu, kamati imekukilia, haya ni majungu tu. Lakini the fact that you are a wife of a king, a rumor, inatosha mimi kukuacha. Akamdivorce mke wake. Sio kama nimeeleweka? Because you are a wife of a king, hutakiwi kuwa rumored on hata kidogo. Baadaye inajulikana hawa mabwana kumbe ndio walikuwa nalala na mama. So be wise as King Solomon. Ile commission kumbe ndio walikuwa wanatembea na mama. Mzee, wewe ulikuwa unakula mke wa mfalme. So nimeitoa hii kuwa analytical. Kuna vitu nasema kwa hili tu. Mzee Mkapa alipoanza uongozi alisema kiongozi atakaye singiziwa tu anakula rushwa, anaondoka. But it was very difficult to implement that. Very difficult. So, yes, let us not ignore rumors. Lakini be analytical as a leader. Thank you.
Makofi hayatoshi. He said something I need to revisit. Speaker wetu alikuwa anasema mambo ya, color of power and color of, I don't know what he said, lakini it reminded me a very important saying in Kiswahili, kwamba mtoto akililia wembe unampa. Now there's that team, it acted like mtoto. Si tunasema atuchezi, they insisted. And then we went kucheza. What happened ni vilio tu. Makofi kwa wanayanga. Kwa hiyo from that time we knew as Yanga kwamba mtoto akililia wembe unafanyaje? Unampa. And now they don't really request the razor blade because they know how it sounds. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to welcome Wakili Wasonga to ask his question, and then I'll take two more because we need to stop here and go to the second talk. Wakili Wasonga, please. Anyone with a mic? Secretariat? Mr. Omar, ile nilikuchomekea ujue kuna wanayanga wengi hapa.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Mjenga, for a very insightful presentation you've made. I must admit I'm one of your fans and great followers on your social media platforms, and I always get enough knowledge from what you are sharing on your social media platforms. I liked the way you started by throwing a joke, as just Dr. Alteka said here, and you associated colors with people, colors with institutions, and went as far as terming young Africans as one of the complicated teams. I don't know what you'd say about those political parties which are also kind of associated with that color as well. Mr. Mjenga, I just have a question to you, or you may react or wish not to react. In terms of what is currently happening in our country politically, in your view, do you think there is any leadership gap? Secondly, I heard when Mr. Moderator was introducing you, you are one of the founders of the Uongozi Institute. I don't know whether the institute is still there, and what actions are in place to ensure that what you started so far continues and impacts our leaders currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Wakili Wasonga. I think 3 questions in one. Number 1, about the color leadership gap. And I think the last one is the impact of Uongozi Institute and whether it is there. I need to make it very clear. Mr. Wasonga is a mwananchi. When you respond, please know that. Yes, Wakili Benson. And then one more, just 2 for now, and then I think the rest will speak during break time.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My question is built from the theme of the conference, the breaking barrier and building bridges. I have observed for quite some time that we are currently facing a huge generational gap in workplaces between the Gen Zs, the millennials, and Gen X. And it happens that most of these people can hardly communicate and understand each other. So as far as this theme of this conference is concerned, my question is, how do we build a generational gap as leaders to address these issues between these three generations? And that question is as far as the organizational culture is concerned and the concept of inclusivity as a leader is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wakili Benson. That's about building generational gap or bridging that for that matter. And I think this speaks more to the Gen Zs. One of the Gen Zs asked how to walk on eggs without breaking them, balancing the delicate balance between naming out toxic leaders without risking their work opportunities. Margaret, did I see you with the last, anyone, any request, last request? If no, I'll be the happiest man in the room. We are trying to balance time. I think there's none, so karibu sana, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think I will also be the second happiest man because of very nice questions. Now, Wakili Wasonga, right? The colors in protocol and etiquette, yellow is a complicated person. Yellow. And green is a jealous person. Mtu mwenye wivu. And that's why Yanga kishinda bado ana wivu Simba kushindwa. Yani kushinda kwa Simba is the discussion in Yanga. Mimi huwa nashindwa kuelewa shida ni nini. Lakini nikirudi kwenye colors inanipa majibu. Complexity na wivu. Wakishinda, they don't discuss about offsides, kubebwa, wanashangilia kushindwa. So these colors kwa kweli na shangaa ni kwa nini Yanga mlichagua hizi rangi. Sasa kwenye siasa nadhani alikuwa na refer CCM. Hii tutamuuliza katibu mkuu wa chama. Yes, I don't think we have leadership gap at all. We don't have a vacuum at all. Na ingekuwepo tusingekuwepo hapa leo. Huo ndio ukweli. But I think we need a dialogue. Coming back to your speech. A dialogue that will define our path, our future. Na ndio maana hata rais anasema maridhiano. In fact, mimi I have been a champion to propagate the 4R. When you have a leader who says we need reconciliation, that means there is a problem. When a leader says we need reconciliation. Mzee Mandela, when he became president, he appointed what we call TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, to establish what was wrong, what went wrong, and what should we consider as we move forward. Ndio maana ya reconciliation. So, since the president amekuwa willing for reconciliation, maridhiano, I think it's a way of a dialogue. You cannot have reconciliation without a dialogue. So we don't have a leadership gap, but I think we need a national dialogue. Uongozi Institute, yes, I served for more than 7 years to create Uongozi Institute. President Kikwete was our chair, together with the President of Finland. The final report ilipelekwa kwa Secretary General, ikawa adopted by the UN, and Uongozi Institute was established for African leadership, for sustainable development. Ipo, they have the offices pale ilipokuwa the cabinet, kama unakwenda Magogoni pale, opposite na Prime Minister's office pale Magogoni. They have a resource center, pale Julius Nyerere International Conference. And they do every month, I think, 3 book review. So I will encourage you, learned brothers and sisters, because I'm also learned, muende kwenye resource center na muattend these events. I hope they will be addressing the real idea why we established the Uongozi Institute. Yes, removing barriers and building bridges. First of all, we have to agree there is a gap that was either created by us for the Gen Zs without knowing. That gap, ukiwatizama Wahindi, they don't have it. Have you seen an Indian shop owner? Mwae kumuona Muhindi mwenye duka kama ni la dhahabu, la kuuza wholesale? Have you seen that? Do you see wanaomsaidia kuuza pale? Ni kina nani? Watoto wake. Apprenticeship. Baada ya miaka miwili, mtoto wa kwanza ana duka lake. Baada ya miaka miwili, mtoto wa pili ana duka lake. Ile generational experience sharing, Wahindi wanayo vizuri sana. Lakini others, I think we missed the bullet. Ndio maana mnaona hizi generational gap. Lakini pili, the digital divide. Mr. Joseph, mimi wakati naandika my first dissertation, it was 1996. I used typewriter. Unaandika ukifika chini ukikosea unachana yote unaanza upya. If I took you back to that lifestyle, utahama immediately. So the digital divide imetufanya sisi na wao like an opposition party. Watoto wengi akizungumza mtu mzima anasema huyu mzee anazungumza yuko karne gani? Kwa sababu hatukwenda nao. Kuna siku nimesafiri na Askofu Malasusa kwenye ndege, anasema I think hata sisi viongozi wa dini kuna sehemu tumekosea. So these guys are swimming on their own. Ask yourself as a parent in this room, how many times do you sit with your children at home? How many hours do you spend at home? Juzi nilikuwa pahala nimewauliza chakula cha nyumbani ananunua nani? Si wewe? Yeah? You have a wife. Anafanya kazi. Mara ngapi unakula nyumbani? In a week. Mara chache. So chakula unamnunulia nani? Eh? In fact chakula unawanunulia watumishi wa ndani wale. Watoto wenyewe wengine wako shule. So how many times do you sit with your family? Mimi I have a tradition kwamba every Sunday I have a family meeting. Na kila Sunday we have a different chair to discuss problems, to discuss progress, to discuss tomorrow. Sasa wazazi wangapi, when did you last have a look kwenye daftari la mwanao? So hizi gaps tumezicreate sisi. We have a problem kwenye ulezi kubwa sana. Now, are we too late? My answer is not. We are not. Ndio maana kwa mfano we are developing a program how to manage Gen Zs, especially at work. Come 20 years, hii leadership mnayoiona haitakuwepo. Wao ndio watakuwa madarakani. Sasa jiulize huyu Gen Z asiyejali organizational culture, asiyejali procedures and rules, anaona kama unamzuia, yeye ni quick fixes. Anaye discuss between gari na nyumba kipi kije kwanza. Na kwa vyovyote ni gari. Kwa Gen Z ni gari. Then we have a problem. So I agree we have a generational gap, lakini sisi wazazi tumechangia pia, pamoja na it's a good thing, technological development, lakini digital divide. How many times ukiwa nyumbani kwako unashinda kuoperate TV, unamuita mwanao anakusaidia? Even on your own phone. Kama kitu akiendi sawa, unaambia njoo nisaidie mtoto wako. That tells a lot. So, imagine 20 years, one of these guys is the president. Is the prime minister. Sasa hivi ndio muda wa kuanza kujadili skills, the soft skills for the future. And discuss the future now. Sasa ndugu zangu, mimi niishi hapa. Mstaarabu siku zote anakubali kushinda. Anayebebwa hata siku moja hawezi kukubali kwamba amebebwa. Hiyo inajulikana. Wanaotumia waganga hawakubali kwamba tunatumia waganga. Bora kuanguka kwa heshima kuliko kusimama kwa aibu. Asanteni sana.
Makofi hayatoshi jamani. That is a quotable quote. It can go to the pages of history. Really is a very important reminder kwamba kuliko kusimama kwa aibu ni heri kuanguka kwa heshima. It's really just accepting defeat. And I think really this is a talk that requires a follow-up talk on how to manage diversity. So thank you, Wakili, for asking how to manage generational diversity, because otherwise we can create another problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you are following up, including those following us online, the program, and what is coming next is a quite topical topic. It is made for these times we are living in. It's about artificial intelligence and professional practice. So it focuses on the legal, ethical, and practical perspectives. And the presenter is none other than Advocate Shehzada Wali. We usually call him Wali. I think for many reasons. The first one is quite mouthful, who is a managing partner of Rive & Co. And as he comes, I think he's working on technology. Let me read some of the success stories in his close to 15 years of legal practice. So Advocate Amir Wali is the managing partner at Rive & Co., a resident in Dar es Salaam. In his 13 years of practice in Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar, Wali is a dynamic legal professional specializing in dispute resolution, corporate and investment law, mining and energy law, banking, finance law, and telecommunications law. When Mr. Omar was speaking here, he alluded to a joke from Mandela, who admitted that people in his own backyard had no idea who he was. Excellent. So I want, ladies and gentlemen, to read some of the success stories coloring the professional landscape of Wakili Wali. But before that, there's an announcement. Wakili Wasonga, please see the secretariat. Wakili David Wasonga, please see the secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, so without any further ado, let me read some of monumental achievements of Wakili Wali that color his legal practice landscape. He successfully instituted a telecom-related arbitration against a leading telecommunication company in Tanzania worth just over 10 billion Tanzanian shillings. He also made a successful acquisition of a mining license for Lake Victoria Resources Company Limited. He also successfully instituted and won a contractual arbitration against a leading Chinese telecommunications company worth 800,000 US dollars. He also made an analysis and wrote an opinion for KPMG on their audit of Tanzania Electric Supply Company Limited worth 148.4 million USD arbitration dispute against the Standard Chartered Bank of Hong Kong. I think this is quite known matter. And with regards to the EFC, he successfully set up an initial microfinance institution and part of its evolution into fully fledged microfinance bank, including capital restructuring, regulatory compliance, ground up documentation preparation, and systems check to minimize legal risks. Ladies and gentlemen, now with that, please let's clap hands as I welcome Wakili Wali to speak to us on a very topical topic of how artificial intelligence affect our legal practice dynamics and the institutions. Karibu sana Wakili.
Thank you very much. It gives me great honor and pleasure to stand before you to present this very interesting topic. Just before I start, I just want to make a small disclaimer. I'm not an AI specialist, so I'm not from a software engineer perspective or so on an AI specialist. I'm just an AI fanatic. I just love embracing technology. And embracing technology in my career, which is now 15 years actually, came from my first lecture at law school with Dr. Ringo Tenga. That was the first time I got inspired to actually use technology, because if most of you who have gone through law school or have gone through teachings of Dr. Ringo Tenga, you will remember that those days he used to have a software that he used called The Box. And that was a revolution at that time, and he would give access to students to access documents that he saved. And I was one of those students that was very inquisitive, and he used to give me restrictive access as well. So people were restricted to some documents, but I was actually given full access. So that was, Dr. Ringo Tenga was the person that inspired me to actually look into technology. And so you find me doing these presentations. I don't know how many of you were there in 2021 when I did my first presentation and I used the catchphrase, "The robots are coming." How many of you were there? Wow, I feel old now. Okay, actually I was there. But that was the first time I actually introduced technology or a technology-related presentation at the TLS when I was running for president of TLS, which someday you will elect me for. So artificial intelligence, and today we will talk about its presence in the professional practice and legal, ethical, and practical perspectives. Now, how many of you here have never used ChatGPT or any AI tool? Never gone online and used one? Okay. How many of you have used it for social perspectives like jokes or travel, just asking ChatGPT or Copilot or any other AI tool any questions, or even creating images of yourselves on Facebook and Instagram just to see how you look as an AI portrait? How many of you have used that? Okay, quite a few. You can see the Gen Z has definitely used that. I'm sure your display picture is probably AI generated. See? And who has used it for legal work, like research, drafting, translations? How many of you have used AI for that? Okay, quite a few, that's good. Now, the biggest question, and every time I tell people I'm going to be presenting on artificial intelligence, the first thing the person says, you guys, you lawyers will not exist anymore because of AI. AI will take you away. The truth is that AI needs to be treated just like a junior lawyer, an intern, or an associate by us lawyers. AI is not going to be a threat to us. But if you use AI the correct way, it will just be like a junior associate who is brilliant, very fast, and sometimes overconfident, and definitely needs supervision. So there's one thing you can take away today is that treat AI as a junior associate or a help or an assistant, and not as a threat. What does AI actually do? We heard Mr. Omar speak about, in 1996, writing a dissertation using a typewriter. Today, I mostly use AI for writing submissions and articles and stories. I like writing stories, so sometimes I would prompt AI to write me a story. Sometimes I actually ask AI to write me a story for my daughter. So my daughter lives in Dubai right now because her mother migrated and had transferred for work. So sometimes I send an email to my daughter by writing a story through AI. And all I do is I prompt AI and I ask AI, can you please make up a story on ABC? And because my daughter likes listening to made up stories from me. So I make up those stories and I copy paste them and put them on an email and I send them to my daughter. And she's 8 years old and she reads them and sometimes she questions them. But AI is basically a tool. And we have different types of AIs, ChatGPT, Gemini, and I'll show you the rest, CoCounsel, Lexis AI. But think of AI as a very fast, wide-read pupil in law school who sometimes invents authorities when unsure. Is it helpful? But you wouldn't let them sign your submissions. And I'll tell you why. Okay? So AI is basically a technology that learns from you. It learns from what we all are feeding into the internet. So in the event that you may ask AI about something that happened yesterday, let's say, and AI may not be able to tell you what happened yesterday because probably the particular event is not yet captured and AI hasn't processed it yet. So it is all the data that we're putting into the internet is where AI is picking this up from. So when AI is basically giving you, let's say, a case from the Court of Appeal, if that case would not be on Tanzli or published by a law firm on LinkedIn or on their website, AI will never be able to get that case for you, no matter how hard you try. And so the moment you put something on AI, on the internet, you upload something on the internet, even if it's your LinkedIn profile, try one day or later on, just go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, who is Shehzada Wali? I mean, and I would ask myself, but I have my friend there, Richard, we went to St. Mary's together. And if he goes and puts his full name, AI will start reading and translating everything that you've done on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. If there was an article written about you, if a newspaper was published about you, AI will tell you who Shehzada Wali is. We already have the existence of AI in our judicial systems. So we have the electronic case management system, and the judiciary is already working on two things specifically. One, in using AI to translate cases and proceedings from Swahili to English and English to Swahili. So AI is already being used for that. Soon, AI will be used as for virtual courts, and we've heard different speeches in 2023, 2024 on that. And there are studies on AI in the Tanzania's justice system highlighting its potential to transform case management, research, and decision support. So soon, AI is going to be used to do all that. And there are projects ongoing between the World Bank and the judiciary to be able to use AI for more. So do not be surprised, probably in the next year or so, that we will also be engaging in virtual courts. So when we talk about AI and the law, it's not just for those in the Silicon Valley in the US, but it's within our own courtrooms now. What are professional bodies doing about this? So we can see Tanganyika Law Society is already coming up with CLEs and forums around artificial intelligence. This is actually my second CLE that I'm doing this year itself on artificial intelligence organized by the TLS. We have the American Bar Association who issued its first formal ethics opinion on generative AI in 2024, stressing duties of confidentiality, competence, supervision, and candor when using AI. And I'll talk about these when we talk about ethics. And then there are other bars as well that have come up with guidelines on AI. The direction AI is a topic that is a must to be discussed because there is some anxiety also around artificial intelligence. There are those who think they do not want to use artificial intelligence because it may be dangerous. And there are those who want to use it because it is helpful. And just to clarify, whether you like it or not, just like the way you were forced to move from a typewriter to a computer, to be using Yahoo, then Google, and then now you will be forced to use AI. So if you're not practicing it, start now. And I'll show you a couple of tools. There is no particular law in Tanzania that governs artificial intelligence. However, consumers, clients, the judiciary, everybody is protected by the Personal Data Protection Act and its regulations. There are some drafts currently being worked on artificial intelligence. There have been several member of parliaments talking about the need of having a clear AI legal framework. But Tanzania does not yet have a comprehensive AI Act. It is the European Union who has certain guidelines and regulations and laws on how artificial intelligence can be used and what are the sanctions that people can be given if used wrongly. So we are heading there in terms of having a regulatory framework. There are several instances where AI has gone wrong. So, for example, in the US, there is a case where two lawyers basically used ChatGPT to write their submissions and put cases in those submissions. And it happened that all those cases were fabricated. They were not real cases. These two lawyers were actually fined $5,000 for those cases. But at the same time, there's several other cases, including a case where one of the former Donald Trump's lawyers also used a software called, or an AI tool called Bard by Google. And again, he was fined about $2,000. And sometimes, some of them have not been fined, but the courts have basically just said it's quite embarrassing to receive such submissions from lawyers. Now, as much as it is embarrassing internationally, I'm not afraid to say that I actually also wrote a written submission using AI. And I wrote a 20-page submission to the High Court of Tanzania using artificial intelligence. And AI did an amazing job. Put so many cases for me, referencing the Court of Appeal of Tanzania, because I was giving it prompts. Look for cases from Court of Appeal of Tanzania, look for land cases, look for tort cases. And it did an amazing job. Gave me a 20-page submission. Then I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning. I emailed it to my associate, and I said, please just reconfirm these cases and print all these cases so that we can attach it to the submission. It's quite embarrassing, but none of the cases existed. None of the cases. The associate called me and said, Shazada, e kesi haipo. I'm like, what do you mean hypo? It's there, the citation is there. And we started looking for those cases, and those cases were fabricated. None of them existed. So the next best thing is tell the associate to look for cases related to those land issues and those tort issues. So total failure, but lesson learned. Check. Now imagine if I just put that submission and uploaded it online, right? It would have been quite embarrassing, because even the Court of Appeal or the judge who was actually reading that submission would have been looking for those cases, and maybe he would have thought that they exist and it was just his mistake. But AI is not an excuse. The court will sanction you and not the chatbot, right? So if you write something, yesterday I was talking to a very good friend of mine and the chairman of TIAC, Mr. Nyange, and he asked me, he said, so what if you submit something with AI? What happens? And I told him, you get penalized, because you were supposed to counter-check what you're submitting. And it's not the AI's fault. So you cannot sue the chatbot or the tool. You are the one who will be sanctioned and sued for putting that material out there. Ethical duties. So things that we need to be careful with. Now, the first one is confidentiality. When we talk about confidentiality, a lot of us may have this habit of, there is an upload button when you're using ChatGPT or Gemini or any other AI tool. There's an upload button. Now, do not take the names of your clients, the actual facts and everything that happened, and just upload it on AI. Because when you do that, you're in fact now putting them out there. So now whoever might go and Google or go into AI, and if it was a case between Mariam Juma and Omari Ali, that Mariam Juma now is already uploaded on ChatGPT or Copilot. So it's always good to prompt AI and say, I have a client who is facing this particular issue. And it is a land matter, and there was a trespass, and so and so and so and so and so. And the court came up with the following 3 issues, Please, can you give me cases related to maybe land or tort or civil imprisonment, anything. Do not put your clients' names, details on AI. So there is still a confidentiality issue related to AI and putting things up there. Also, for those of you who just like to put up your pictures on AI and say, oh, make me a nice AI suit wearing, lawyer looking, wearing maybe trainers, etc., etc. That picture now is in the World Wide Web, okay? So people that are actually looking to maybe hack you or that are looking to Photoshop something, those pictures can be found by them as well. So be careful of what you're uploading on AI. Sometimes we take our family pictures and we put them on AI and we want AI to do a nice background for us and so on. Just know, you're now putting your family on the World Wide Web. Competence and diligence. Now, no matter how much you're going to use AI, it's important for you to do checks. Just like the example I gave you when I did my written submission. So you have to basically go and check. So if you've done a submission, check. If you have maybe done a research and prompted AI to do a research for you, counter check. So if it has told you, let's say, that according to the Land Act of 1999, check, is there a revised edition? What was the current law or the bill available? Because AI may not catch something that happened 2 months ago. A finance bill is just out there and it's not been uploaded on the World Wide Web. AI will not give you that law. So check again, because that will really affect your competence. Candor to court and honesty to client. Now again, in some instances, it is important to basically inform your client or the court that this was an AI-generated document. Because just like there is AI tools for creating these documents, there are AI tools that are used to check for plagiarism, to check for correctness, and so maybe not in Tanzania at the moment, but abroad, in the US and in Europe, even the courts can basically check whether this was an AI-generated submission or an article. So it is always important to be honest that I used artificial intelligence to do this particular job. And so that the client also knows that this could have, something could have gone wrong as well. I don't know how many of you noticed this, but because I use ChatGPT a lot, my team in the office, when I ask them to do a research, they actually go on ChatGPT, do the research, and then send it to me. Now, ChatGPT has a certain format when it gives you the research, because you can tell ChatGPT to actually put that research in a Word document or a PDF or a PowerPoint presentation, and it will give you a certain format. And so when they send it to me, I literally see the format, that it's a ChatGPT document. And they have no, I was going to use the word balls, but to actually even tell me that Shazada ChatGPT. So be honest, because people will catch you when you're using this, unless you're really good at it, by artificial intelligence, by the way. So whatever you see here, all the graphics, all the wordings, everything is AI. I did not come up with the words ethical duties through an AI lens. It's not something I came up with. And I created this presentation in 15 minutes, by the way. I didn't spend hours to do this presentation. It was 15 minutes. And it's a combination of ChatGPT and Canva. Canva is a software where graphic designers use to basically make designs. So whatever you see here is AI, okay? Except for me. And then supervision. So again, AI needs monitoring and supervision as well. So the right prompts. So it's just like when you're inviting an intern to your office and explaining to them what research you want them to do, how you want to do them, where they can look for these documents. Same way, AI is supervised. So it follows your prompts. The better your prompt, the more efficient the research will be, or the more efficient the document will be. So again, it has to be supervised. And there are things it will tell you it cannot do as well. But again, like I said in my previous points, when we talk about supervision, you also have to check what it has given you as a result. Now, some practical use cases for Tanzanian lawyers. The first thing that you can do with AI is legal research, okay? And you can basically save a lot of time by using artificial intelligence to do research for you. And then, of course, like I shared in my ethical principles, check everything that comes about. So it at least saves you time in going to Google and looking for one thing. If you put the right prompts, it will tell you everything. And I'll show you an example as well. The next thing it can do for you is drafting and reviewing documents. So it can draft your engagement letters, NDAs, board resolution, HR policies. It can also compare client contracts to your law firm templates, and it can also flag some issues. So whenever a client texts me and says, "Hi Shehzada, I just want to understand how does this foreign currency regulation work?" You know, I copy paste that, put that on ChatGPT, and I ask ChatGPT, "How does it work?" And then ChatGPT will tell me everything, from what BOT is saying, from what a minister said, from this, from that, and then I will read everything. And then I will click on the research button that ChatGPT has given me, because ChatGPT will give you some links as well to go and read. So I would go and read that, and then take about 30 minutes. I will also call my partner. So if it's anything to do with BOT, IP issues and so on, I will call Sunday, and I'll say, "Sunday, by the way, a client is asking about 1, 2, 3. What do you think?" And then he will respond to me on the phone. And then I might call an expert in banking and ask the same question. And then I will get back to my client. So I will not just put it on ChatGPT and then see what it says and then immediately write it to my client. But ChatGPT would have given me a framework of what I could respond to my client. Now, you could also summarize bulky materials, again, translation. So a lot of times, because I'm also the chairman of an NGO called Utu Kwanza, I get invited sometimes to events where I have to speak in Swahili. And although I can speak Swahili because I'm born in Tanzania and I grew up in Kariakoo, Msimbazi, a Simba fan. I lived opposite Simba Sports Club. So I'm also a Simba fan, so today we're dominating this place. But when it comes to written Swahili, sometimes it's difficult even for somebody who knows Swahili. So I will actually write my speech. I will tell ChatGPT to write my speech in Swahili for me, and ChatGPT will do an amazing job for that. Practice management. So there are certain AI tools that can also help you with practice management, and I'll show you. Translation. AI should handle repetitive and low-value work, freeing us for advocacy, judgment, and client relationships. Now, these are some of the tools that AI basically has, and there is there's basically Co-Counsel Legal. It's an AI assistant. 1 second, if I can just come out of this. Okay, yeah, sorry. That was a different version. So basically, there's AI assistants like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, that can do text drafting, brainstorming, summarizing, and all those things. Then we have AI tools that can do research analysis and drafting. So for example, co-counsel legal, this one is a good one for research, analysis, and drafting. And then we have Legal Lexis plus AI. This is developed by LexisNexis. And then we have Westlaw Edge, which is also good for research, citation. We have Harvey, that helps for domain-specific AI for law firms used by international firms. And then we have AI for contract and transaction. So if you're doing a lot of transactional work, so drafting a lot of contracts, you can use Spellbook, you can use Diligent, you can use Kira, and most of these you have to pay a certain subscription, but they're quite helpful. If you're doing a lot of litigation, then there's an AI tool called Relativity. There is Clio. Clio is also a practice management, so it tracks your number of hours, billables, it can generate invoices and all those things. We have Smith.ai. Again, it's an AI-assisted virtual reception, and it can be useful for client screening. Now, coming to almost the end, specific opportunities and risks. Now, of course, when you look at opportunities, you have what I mentioned the judiciary is currently using. We have the opportunity to develop proper frameworks, regulatory frameworks, and lawyers can also help shape policy and compliance. TLS and ELS are already doing trainings on this, so there's a lot of opportunities for growth in specialists and thought leaders. The risks, as I also mentioned earlier, that data localization and cloud, many AI providers host data outside Tanzania. And then there could be bias and discrimination because AI is trained a lot more on foreign cases. So the more we feed AI with our local cases, that will help us. And there could be a digital divide because some lawyers may not be tech savvy, and some law firms may be left behind because they do not want to engage in technology. The 5 rules that you guys can use at your firm to manage AI. So no client secrets in public tools, right? So like we agreed and we said, don't put their names and identity documents so on the artificial intelligence platforms. Always verify, so make sure you tell your associates, your fellow colleagues to verify the information. You may also label internal AI drafts. So you could say these are AI drafts and you can label them so you know which ones are AI related and which ones are not. You can keep a short register, again, on all the research you're doing on AI so that you can monitor it and supervise it. And lastly, it's important to train your people on artificial intelligence and send them to perhaps also seminars and trainings like these ones so that they're also tech savvy. AI governance doesn't have to be a 50-page policy. Even these 5 rules, if followed, will keep most of the firms out of trouble. And that comes to the end of my presentation. If you don't mind, Mr. Moderator, can I just show them something? So I don't know how to move this. Okay, I'm just going to do this. So this is ChatGPT, and this is a paid version, okay? So I pay $20 per month for this. It's like 50,000 shillings. And this is ChatGPT 5.1, and you see here it says thinking. Okay, now you could choose the auto version or the instant version, so it gives you answers right away. But the thinking one takes its time. So for example, if you tell it to give me I've just asked it to give me a case summary of a Tanzanian case related to land matters. And you see what it's doing. It's thinking. Now, while it's thinking, you will see that it will start now analyzing. Okay? So the first case it picked up is the Akonai case. And now it's going through Tanzli and several other websites. It also went to the FBI attorney's websites, because FBI attorneys is one of the law firms that is writing quite a lot on these issues. It says Tanzli source is blocked, so it's trying to go to different websites, pick up everything, and it's analyzing. So this is the thinking version. And now it's picked up AG versus Akone, which we've all studied in university during our land lectures. See, it says it thought for 1 minute and 23 seconds. And now it's going to give you the case summary of Attorney General versus Lohai Akonai and Joseph Lohai, the background and facts. And so, instead of you picking up the case, reading it, how long will it take you to read that whole case? And then sitting in front of your computer, if you're somebody like me that uses 4 fingers to type or just 2-3 fingers to type, how long is it going to take you to type? Now this gives you an entire summary of the case. And it breaks down the arguments in brief. What did the Attorney General argue? What did the respondents argue? In very brief. It now gives you the decision and the holding. And it also tells you the legal principles that were established in that case, which were 2 or more. But this basically gives you a quick insight. So if you download the ChatGPT app on your phone and you've paid for this version, so every time you're just sitting somewhere, and even if you hear something or a case, and trust me, even when I'm at the Court of Appeal of Tanzania before the 3 justices, you will, if you've done a case with me, none of the people here have been in court with me, but you will see me busy on my phone. I'm not on WhatsApp. When the opposition lawyer is arguing something, I am actually typing to ChatGPT and telling ChatGPT, bro, come on, help me. This guy is breaking me, he's bringing all these crazy arguments and cases, and I don't know all these cases. Can you please tell me, how do I rebut? And ChatGPT will give me a counter argument against the lawyer. And then that lawyer is done, and then in 2 minutes, I have an answer, right? So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, Honorable Justices of Appeal, so I've heard the argument. Now, ChatGPT, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there you go. The rules and everything is there because the Court of Appeal rules are online, right? And when they ask me a question, oh, what do you think does this rule say? Quickly, what does this rule say? You know, and I'm like, can you give me a minute, yeah? I open the book, but in reality, I am reading on my phone. And I usually carry my laptop as well, and I connect it to internet. So, but this is just one tool. Google has Gemini, okay? You can create a video or write anything, help me learn. Then you have you have Copilot. So again, you can message Copilot to tell you something. So all these tools are basically accessible to you. And please feel free to ask questions, of course, now. But also, if you need any help working out or knowing which tools would work best for you, I'm around, so we could always talk. And I'm usually found in Dar as well, so again, we can get in touch, and you can come to my office, or we could meet for coffee, and I'll be very, very happy to help you, especially those of you who have crossed the age of 50. Thank you.
Makofi hayatoshi jamani, makofi mengi kabisa kwa wakili Wali. Now I think you would agree with the advert, very famous online, that calls people to disappear for a month before you become a master of AI. So please disappear for a weekend in order to get the tools and know how to use them. Because I had a conversation with one of my friends, some of you know him, Paul Kaunda, who is fascinated by technology generally. And this is what he told me, that legal practice or works of a lawyer is not supposed to be replaced by AI, but rather enhanced. So he calls upon lawyers to embrace technology, embrace AI, and be masters of it, because it is supposed to enhance how we practice law, and not really to send us home packing, especially those of you who are not livestock keepers like myself. So we have some few minutes to ask questions, and probably we are marginalizing participants who are following us online. So Secretariat, if by any means you can get to know whether they have any questions, I'll be very happy to know. But academics, colleagues in the room here would agree with me that there are fewer places where issues of ChatGPT and AI are pronounced than in the classroom, right? Which are full of Gen Zs. So we grapple with how to inculcate the culture of thinking while also making sure that they embrace technology because it is part and parcel of their era. But something very fascinating came up. One of the highly ranked university made a policy restricting professors and the academics more broadly from using AI in their publications. But the irony is that that policy was drafted by ChatGPT. So, so it's quite an irony. So any questions before we get also from online? Anyone? Very quick. Or comment? Yes, Karibu Wakili, I can see, please, Apo. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Wali. My question is an interest on the writing dissertation or thesis. There is what is called plagiarism, and there is plagiarism test. Now, I was just inquiring if at all through ChatGPT, which you mostly use, should we have a criteria of some of the percentage? For example, in dissertation is 30% plagiarism is allowed. But if it exceeds, it's not allowed. In ChatGPT, is it the same?
He's asking ChatGPT about that. Right. Anyone else? Wakili is here, Wakili Benson. I can give him.
So my question is that in our legal profession, we tend to think and analyze a lot. And for a good lawyer, needs to have good analytical skills. So how can we use AI without undermining our ability to think, our behavior of thinking as lawyer? Because we as lawyer are supposed to reason, you see. So, if we put everything into AI and the AI is helping us to think as you showed us there, so the AI was thinking on our behalf. So how can we use AI in the way that it will not undermine our thinking behaviors?
Excellent question, Wakili Benson. The last one, I think it's just like memories. We are undermining our ability to remember things by putting reminders. Kuamka tu lazima ukumbushwe na simu kwa alarm kwamba amka sasa kumekucha. Now I don't know what is going to happen next. Yes, Wakili?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm Robert from TEL Secretariat. Actually, I have a question from your presentation. You gave us an example whereby you developed a case using AI, and it came out that some of your cases did not even exist. So my question is, under what circumstances does AI lie to you, and why?
Great question. How do you verify and know that this time ChatGPT is telling the truth, and what time is it going to fabricate cases, including citations? Ladies and gentlemen, let's allow Wakili Wali to respond to those. And if there's any, I will open up for two last questions. Karibu sana.
Okay. So the first question was in relation to plagiarism. Okay. So a direct response would be that you're not allowed to plagiarize. So plagiarism is not allowed using AI. And this is why when you put prompts on AI, if I put the same prompt twice, it will give me two different answers. If I ask AI right now, write me a story about a rabbit and a tortoise, AI will write me a story. When I prompt it again, write me a story about a rabbit and a tortoise, it will give me a different story. It will not give me the same story. So the beauty of AI is that it will not repeat itself, and it does not allow for plagiarism. ChatGPT also says no plagiarism is not allowed, and I'm specifically designed to avoid it. ChatGPT is saying I am specifically designed to avoid it. And then it goes on and says, let me unpack that in a useful way for you. And then gives me a whole lecture on plagiarism, okay? So just know that it's something that you will not really have trouble with. But of course, like I said, always do it under supervision and always verify the information. Benson, thank you for your question. Now, how do we avoid it undermining our way of thinking? Is by becoming smarter. Like I mentioned, and if there's one thing, again, if you take away from me here today is the word prompt, okay? The word prompt is very important. You need to think what you want ChatGPT or an AI tool to do for you. You need to explain to it. So, for example, if I, and maybe not many of you know around here, but one of my biggest hobbies is running. I love running. And at some point now I'm branded as the running lawyer. So I sit down sometimes and I play with AI and I give it prompts to design a logo for myself that looks like me, that's running, but wearing a lawyer's clothing, but wearing sneakers. So I will prompt it to say, can you please create a logo for me where I am wearing a black suit, red tie, black belt, white sneakers, possibly with the Nike tick on it. Now, ChatGPT will get back to me and say, it cannot put the Nike tick for me on my logo. Why do you think that? Sorry? IP, yes. So imagine ChatGPT is designed to not infringe IP as well. So it will actually tell me I cannot put the Nike logo for you on your sneakers for your logo. Maybe choose something else. So Benson, we need to be more smarter. And ChatGPT says, think first, then ask. Jot down what is the question or problem, what do you want to think and the answer might be, what are the key issues or risks unknown. Then use AI to test, refine, or expand what you already have instead of to generate it from zero. So your prompts need to be the best way, and that is why when you see on YouTube sometimes there are these adverts coming, learn AI in 40 days, learn AI in 30 days. What do you think they're teaching you? They're teaching you how to prompt. Now, today's session was about 30 minutes, so I couldn't pack everything up, but perhaps TLS, we could probably do a half-day session where we could actually work with AI to do stuff and lawyers. So maybe the next conference or the next AGM, we could do a half-day session and give it a proper CLE so that we can do more with this topic. The last question was related to to under what circumstances does AI lie to you and why? So again, AI does not actually lie to you. AI picks up what is on the World Wide Web and gives it to you. Now it is your job to basically verify it. So sometimes AI may come across somebody that's written a dissertation or a research, and he or she may have quoted certain cases. So AI is, and like the way you saw when I did the thinking part, it's going through different pages. Now, imagine if on the FBI attorney's page, he has put something, an article there, which has wrong cases. What is AI going to do? It's going to pick that case because it believes it's a land case. And then perhaps that human error done by some lawyer who wrote an article is now put in your submission. So AI is not going to lie to you. It's only going to give you a bulk of information that you now need to test and verify. And that's why I said AI is not going to be a threat to our existence as lawyers. It is there to enhance us, to improve us, to help us. But to those who will not catch up with it, it will be a threat because you will now find lawyers coming to court with amazing submissions. You will find lawyers like me compared to a lawyer like maybe my friend Odax, who is writing books and books and books and read so much. And if you've ever come across my friend Odax in court, his submissions are just like a book, you know? And then after he submits for 30 minutes, I stand up with ChatGPT and submit for 5 minutes. And I sit down. And the Court of Appeal rules in my favor. So it's how smart you can get into using it, how smart you can get to put the right prompts. And in fact, ChatGPT has also responded to your question. And it says that AI doesn't lie in the human sense. No beliefs, no intentions, no guilt. But it does produce false or misleading answers under certain conditions. I'll call it lying in quotes, but really it's hallucination or misrepresentation. So that's how AI is protecting itself. It's saying, I don't lie. I can probably create hallucinations or misrepresentations. Now, a good lawyer would probably make a good argument with this. So we all just need to be careful on how we prompt it. And if you follow the 5 rules, I'm sure TLS is going to email you my presentation. So if you follow those 5 rules, I believe you'll be able to take care of AI in the best possible manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, because he's a high-tech person, I think other questions should be done using AI, sending to him, and that gives us the opportunity to go for another speaker. And asante sana. Makofi kwake tafadhali. So please use ChatGPT to send him questions if you had any more. While giving me space to welcome Mr. Jesse Ngoti, who is the Manager of Research, Project and Finance at Tanzania Bankers Association. I like Jesse's profile. If he allows me, I would read it verbatim. Is excellent. Or should I leave it for you to do it by ChatGPT? You can ask ChatGPT who he is, and I'm sure this is what it will say. That Jesse Ngoti is an economist, digital finance practitioner, and economic policy researcher dedicated to advancing inclusive and sustainable finance in Africa. He serves as the Manager of Research and Policy at the Tanzania Bankers Association, where he manages sector research, policy development, and strategic projects that shape Tanzania's banking landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, he talks to us this afternoon, and I think I'll be a bit more strict on his use of time. He was allocated 20 minutes to talk about banking, finance, and fintech opportunities in digital finance, mobile money, and cross-border banking. Jesse, karibu sana. Makofi kwake.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And I want to say thank for being here. We really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks to TLS. The good thing is Yanga, we have a player called AI. Simnamjua. Hi. So I'm here to talk about the banking, digital finance, as well as cross borders. But you know, when I was given this task, I was like, okay, they are going to be lawyers. What do I do? But you're very brilliant minds, and I think I'll just be brief. First, I'll just tell you a bit more about the association. So basically, we are an association for all banks as an institution. We are a membership-based organization like TLS, but not for individual bankers. It's a bank as an institution. And currently, all the banks in Tanzania are members of TBA. Once you get a license from the central bank, you become automatically a member of TBA. Our main role is to be the voice for the banking sector, because we cannot all approach the government, we cannot all approach the regulator, who is BOT, on different matters. So our main goal is that. And the other interest part I wanted to tell you about our organization is some of our activities that we are doing. As your lawyers, just the day before yesterday, I had a call with a friend of mine who also works in a bank, but he was stressed. And the main issue was he's having a problem of over-indebtedness. And then I was like, bro, you're a bank. Why do you allow yourself to get in that position? But the main issue is financial literacy. It's not about your professional. You can be a doctor, you can have a master's and PhD, but you may be in a position that you do not have financial literacy. And this is one of the areas we're doing to promote financial inclusion. You're talking about the diversity inclusion in management. In financial sector, we're talking about the financial inclusion, making sure that all of the population are included in the formal financial services, which currently in Tanzania, we are doing well. We'll see the numbers, what's really happening, how are the financial uptake, how many people have a bank account. Of course, now we have the evolution of mobile money, which has speed up the growth of financial inclusion in the country. The other issue is I wanted to speak about the MSMEs. I'm sure if I ask here, there will be more than one person who also tried to get a loan but didn't get it, right? Yes. On our research, we came to realize that 74% of all loan application to a bank, to a microfinance, they fail at the initial stage. It means they even fail or rejected before they happen because they are a lot of requirement to get the loan. And when we approach the financial service provider, they ask you right there, okay, do you have a NIDA? Do you have a tax clearance? Do you have this? Do you have that? How much do you want? And all those issues. So by that, you just get rejected in the initial stage. So, TBA, we came up with a solution for it. Because the issue is information asymmetry, especially for the MSMEs. So we created a platform whereby act as a repository. And that is what I also want you to go and check. If you visit our website, I've put it there, you will see it's called the MSME Financing Gateway. It has all the loan with their detailed requirement, the documentation needed for you to apply. So by the time you approach this financial service provider, you will approach them with all the necessary information. You know CRDB has this loan for a specific project, and NB has this one, maybe Exim. We have also included the microfinance too in that repository. So I argue to also check that out. So in the banking sector, as we are speaking, or in general financial sector, the banking sector. In the financial sector, there are 5 subsectors: banking, insurance, social security fund, and in all the 5 categories of the subsector, the banking sector is a bigger one in terms of what? In terms of the asset, in terms of the loan and deposit. As you can see there, by December last year, those were the numbers. You can see, I just put that for your information purpose, because I know you may not be going reading about the financial reports that are there. But one key item I'll point from this slide is the digital dominance. As you're all aware, the financial sector is now moving in a digital space. Of course, we cannot really escape the growth of technology. We want to serve our customer best. I'm sure some of you have also adopted technology in your work in your areas, right? So even the financial sector, the banking sector, there is a digital dominance. Of course, when you look, there is also MNOs there, the mobile money operator, which plays a big role in increasing the financial inclusion. Now someone who is in rural area, there is no a bank branch, but he or she has a smartphone. Inaweza kawa ni kisoswadu kabisa. Akatumiwa hela, akatransact, akafanya mambo yake ya msingi. So the digital dominance is the one that I wanted to point it out. But there is also a very huge growth that's happened in the sector recently. Last year, we launched so-called Tanzania Instant Payment System. This one is an instant system that connects all the financial service providers. If you have noticed, the main issue in the usage of financial services was the charges, right? Tozo, we have cried a lot about that. Of course, it has many aspects. There is a government aspect, the banking and all that, the financial service provider. But these tips now came to solve the problem. Before, if you used to send money from one bank to another bank, let's say you're sending money from I&M to Akiba Commercial Bank, normally it used to take 3 days, right? We used to be, no, usinitumie kwenye hiyo, nakupa, wewe una benki gani? Na CRDB. Okay, ngoja nikutafutie CRDB. Now this system now has connected all the banks, all the the mobile money operators in one space. That's why when you send money now, it's instantly. You just send money from CRDB to Akiba, to Exim, to wherever you're sending, and it just happens instantly. You can also send money from mobile money to a bank account instantly, and the costs are very low. But we have one problem. People do not know about this. I'm sure even some of you did not know, right? So the financial education awareness is needed, and that is one of our key areas we're doing as TBA. And also you, as lawyers, you also have a part to play. Why? The growth of the digital financial service program comes with a lot of issues that we will need legal expertise to chip in and help to educate the public on what they need to do. What should they look on? You are given a form on your smartphone, and then you just click accept. Many of us just go to the last page and click accept. So that's also the problem. I just wanted to put that on this trends that is happening. Now, I've talked about this. We have come from a low usage in the financial services to a better number. This has been contributed by these factors, the shift due to the digital adoption, the mobile money. Now almost everyone has a phone. If you don't have a smartphone, then you have a Kisoswadu. And with Kisoswadu, you can still use the USSD to accept different financial services. But on top of that, we as customers, we have demanded more. You want, when you go to your mobile app for a bank or from a mobile money operator, which is M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, you want to do everything there. You want to pay your bills, you can do that, which is a good thing. You can pay your bill, you can transfer money. Before, it used to be just a basic, send and receive. If you guys remember, there was a time it used to be like if someone is sending money from M-Pesa to Tigo Pesa, it comes with a code, and then you show them the code and all that. But that's also, it's not there anymore. But these are some of the issues. But also on the area of fintech, which is also another breakthrough in our financial system current, the fintechs came to disrupt the status quo. Of course, as banks, we have lagged behind in some of areas, and MNOs came and, no, you are taking too long to act. And then fintech, which is the financial technology, now also chipping. For them, they are coming up with different innovation, better way, easiest way to save the customer. So the collaboration is what is been happening. There seems to be a silent war between banks, fintechs, and MNO. But in real sense, no, there isn't. These people, they are all collaborating. To what? To make sure they save you as a customer in a better way. So these are some of the issues that has happened. On the cross-borders payment, banking, through this system I told you about, I mentioned about tips. Now every payment that goes outside the country must be routing through tips. So it has really increased the number of payment that goes in and outside the country. Now, this is the financial inclusion I was talking about. What and where are we? As I said, currently, we have a report called FinScope report. And I'm glad I was on the team to develop the report. It's about the financial scope on the demand side, on the customer side. Like, what are customers saying about the financial services? You should check it out. It has a lot of insight about what is really happening in Tanzania on the point of financial inclusion. And as you can see there, we have increased the formal financial inclusion. We have increased the numbers of financial access points. Now, in Tanzania, 89% of the population can access the formal financial services. Either ni kibanda cha wakala, ni M-Pesa, ni wakala wa bank, you can access it within the 5-kilometer radius. Also, we have seen, I've said about the mobile money uptake. As you can see, it has grown from 60 to 72%. But on the banking side, of course, we are lagging behind. I'm sure all of you have a bank account, but still, it's only 22% of all the population, the adult population in Tanzania that has a bank account. So you can see there is still 78% of adult population from 16 years going up, they do not have bank account, which is really a problem. Why? As an MSME, you have started a business, but because we have a big problem of capital, where are you going to access the capital to increase or enlarge your business? You might find that you may need to go to a bank or to a microfinance, but then when you go there, you don't have a bank account. They don't have any history. They don't know you as a person. How can they trust you and give you the loan? So we have to push for people to use the formal financial services, including owning a bank account, so that the bank can have a history with you. What are you transacting and all that? And also that will also solve some of the issues. So some of the barriers. So I wanted to point the last point. 6.3 million are excluded from the form of financial services in Tanzania, according to this report. So there is still a work to be done. A lot of initiatives needs to be created to make sure that these 6.3 million people can access the form of financial services. The main issues then, Mr. Omari mentioned the digital divide. There, we have the internet access, but is it everywhere? No. But the smartphone issue is also an issue. The government, of course, has tried to, lower the cost, to remove the VAT from the smartphone so that anyone can access. Why are we calling for smartphone usage? Because when you have a smartphone, you can access more. The USSD of a bank account or of M-Pesa is limited to the application. The application has more features. You can use it. The user interface is good. So we need to advocate for people to have more smartphones, to own them. Lakini, there is also another problem. The cyber security issues. And that's also where you come in as lawyers. We need to educate our people. There was a time you just sit there and then you receive. Have you ever received a message that says, wakili fulani ambaye amekuweka wewe kama mzamini anadaiwa? Ukija kuangalia nini, huyu mtu alidownload application inaitwa branch, inaitwa Tala, inaitwa nini, hakakopa. Na mbaya zaidi sasa, which is another problem, we have a cultural issue. Tunakopa afu intentionally hatutaki kulipa. Between the accept form ambao tunaiscroll mpaka mwisho kumbe kule tumempa access ya contact kwenye simu zako, mwisho wa siku tunaua reputation za watu. Imagine your boss or someone ambao you consider him very high, you value him, receive a message like that. I have received some of the message from the colleagues who we are working with from the bank. You can see the problem is very, very big. So as users of financial services, we need to equip ourselves. We need to to remove. For instance, do you know what percentage Songesha charges you when you use it? Does anyone have an idea? Yeah, you know. So in this whole room, but if I ask, how many of us have used Songesha? I'm sure the number is good, but we don't know what percentage Songesha charges us. We keep on complaining, oh, you know, Songesha is bad. I've used it and then, but you know what Songesha was meant for? It was meant for an overdraft facility. That when you want to make a payment and your account is not full loaded with that amount, we assist you. And it was only meant for a day. And for a day, they charge you 1%. But do you pay it on a day? We don't. You stop even using M-Pesa for that time, and then you be, no, send on my ass or on Airtel. But the interest is growing up, and then we end up complaining. So we need to have financial literacy. We need to have campaign. TBA, in collaboration with the bank, our member bank, we are trying, of course, with the Ministry of Finance as well, to conduct different financial education and awareness program to the people, to make sure that the people are now aware of these financial services, because it's not to only protect you, but to also give you opportunities. Some people are having problem with saving, and because we have limited income, it's a problem. When something happens, it's an issue. People don't have savings. That is also a problem. So on the digital aspect, as I've said, there is a lot of option. When you use digital services, you know, you can save there. We have these services, and people are using it, and it's really good because it helps to change behavior financially, which is a road to a financial freedom. But there is also a very increase and growth in the e-commerce. You know, you can use your card now to tap and pay and all that. But how are we protecting our card information? Up to this age, up to this time, there are some people that send their relative, their family friend, give them the ATM and then go draw some money for me. That is very bad, because from there you are inviting the crime. Why? If someone gets your card just by seeing it, there is information there that he can use it to steal money from you. BOT and us, we came up with an agreement that for a card, you can transact without putting a password. If you have tried it, it's called EMV technology in a card, whereby you can just tap, but the limit was 100,000. But then the complaints have been too much in a way that we have come back to revisit that guidance that no, every bank should lower the limit and put it based on the appetite. So now if you want your card to just tap and go, you have to go to your bank and say, okay, I want to just tap and go to a limit of, let's say, only 50,000 or only 200K. Because why? There have been issues. People have access to their friend's card, they have tap and go, and then, oh no, I did not pay this, I don't know this transaction, which is also an issue. So the digital growth is happening, but it comes with different issues. And then, that's where you come in. As lawyers' point of view now, there is an issue, as I've said, the data protection and the privacy. Because the more you make the financial services to be more convenient, the more sophisticated it becomes. And that's why there is a must intentional measures to make sure we protect the customers, we protect their data. Because you as lawyers do not go with the pace, we are going to fail. Why? The usage of the formal financial services depend on two issues. One, trust. Now we're all using the banking services. You take your money, you go deposit. Why? Because you trust your bank. You can send money from M-Pesa anywhere. You can transact. Why? Because you have trust. Now, where does that trust come in? It comes knowing that there is a certain regulation that protect. On the fintech, I've just mentioned about it. There is also issues, there is AI, but how do we protect our customers in those areas? Do we protect our customers in those areas? Machine learning, data usage, and all that. And of course, with this, in order for you to be saved the best, we need to use your data. The financial services need to use your data to know your behavior, to know which product they should come with, because the call is, and it is also our call, that the services should be customer-centric. Why?
Thank you can just Mr. develop... Jesse. I hope you are concluding.
Yes. You cannot just develop your a product without considering, does this product customers want? Is this really? So in order to develop the customer-centric product, we need to use your data, and we need to use AI, machine learning. There is now cloud computing and all that. So I'll just end up there due to time, but my call is we need to work together to first educate our public, to also make sure we build trust with them, that there is a legal system in place that can protect you against any action. With that, thank you.
Excellent. Makofi mengi kwa Jesse. Fantastic. 10 minutes from now, we'll break for lunch, and when we come back, there's an extremely interesting topic on how to balance work-life dynamics. So I hope most of you will come even ahead of time. Because we need to strike that balance. I now open the floor for a few questions because we have 10 minutes. And two key takeaways from Jesse's, and I'm sure you can agree with me that the CV, which I declared that I like it, really matches, is aligned to the delivery. Anajua field yake vizuri sana. Makofi tena. Hiyo nilichomekea maana ni mwana Yanga mwenzangu. All right, so number one key takeaway from Jesse is that financial literacy is not inborn. It must be acquired. You have to learn about it. You may be a banker, you may be a lawyer, but really illiterate when it comes to financial literacy. But something else he said is there are a lot of opportunities for lawyers across the fintech landscape, right? As experts in dispute resolution, he mentioned quite a lot of opportunities in the entire waterfront where we can chip in and make a few cents while also advancing the digital economy. Kwa hiyo karibuni, maximum 2 questions. Number 1, Wakili Wali, and then we can proceed. Tafadhali, Secretariat. Wakili, I can see you. You'll be the second over there. And I think I'll close the chapter. Tutampata wakili, kiongozi wa wakili vijana.
So, Jesse, thank you for the presentation. For as much as I was around to hear, my biggest concern as a lawyer, and I'm asking this question, I think maybe for most of the lawyers here, is one of the biggest challenges for lawyers is being able to get financing from banks. Now, I've seen that banks are not very keen to basically finance lawyers and law firms, mostly because we do not deal in goods, we deal in services. Now, this becomes a very big problem for us lawyers because as professionals, we are liable to pay taxes. Our biggest expense is rent and salaries. And salaries come with a huge liability in terms of SDL, PAYE, NSSF, NHIF, all those things. So a lot of lawyers and law firms actually struggle in the market because banks are not supportive. Now, you coming from a banking sector, having done the research and all, what is your opinion and how do you think either the Tanganyika Law Society as a body or law firms as business owners, how do you see us working with banks to be able to get, even if it is overdraft or unsecured loans to a certain amount of money, so that law firms and lawyers can meet their daily compliance without waiting for being paid by clients? Because as you understand, clients may pay you after 30 days. Banks, if you're working with a bank, their payment terms is sometimes 60 days, even if it's just 3 million shillings for a debenture or a mortgage you've filed. 60 days to get paid, while they've already done their disbursements and everything. So we wait for those invoices while a lot of the people in the business suffer just because we're not able to get access to loans as
Thank you, Vice President Wali. Asante sana. I think the question is very clear. Innovation around issues of collateral, because we deal in services, not goods. We don't have the land to go and collateralize it because we are not for commodities. Wakili?
Okay, my name is Joseph Gideon Mkami, and I have just a single question. However, I'm doubting whether it is more of a legal or a banking question, but I think I need to ask. And it is basically from the last category of your topic, cross-border banking. So the question is, in case a bank or a borrower operates across multiple jurisdictions, how are cross-border insolvency proceedings coordinated, and which jurisdiction takes priority in determining creditors' rights, and how creditors are protected from both jurisdictions?
Jesse, I wouldn't blame you if you wouldn't be able to answer the second question. I'll find someone else, who combines legal and fintech knowledge. But they are both excellent questions. Wanja Ukoko.
Yeah, thank you. I was prepared to be answered some strong questions from lawyers, so it's okay. So from your first question, Wali, so currently, as the TBA, BOT, and Ministry of Finance, we are working on developing a regulation called Immovable Asset Registry, whereby if this regulation comes out, it will remove the need for having a physical one-place collateral in order to get a loan. So I think this is going to be a game changer for a lot of sectors, not just the lawyers, because there are sectors that, they trade in services and they really complain with that same mind. So that's one is coming. But also the other issue is, I wanted to say in the last that we need to know these issues. From TLA's point of view, what we're going to do, from TBA, we have committees. We have a legal committee, whereby from time to time we meet with different stakeholders. We have credit committees, we have credit and loan, the FX issues. So from time to time we hold this dialogue in order to get to know what's really happening from this sector, what is the issue and all that. So I think we need to have a continual dialogue, and from TLSC and TBA we can have sessions, a workshop, and then you can bring up your issues as that facing lawyers through TLS, and then we bring bankers there, we discuss them, and then we come up with a solution. That's how we move. On your question of the cross-borders issue, unfortunately it's in my slide, but due to time. So for instance, right now we have the EAC RTGS, which is a real-time gross settlement system for payment across EAC. But we also have the SADC RTGS. And in all this system, there is something called dispute resolution mechanism. So whenever an issue comes in, like the one that you just mentioned, the procedures are there. what needs to be done is articulated very well. Both parties will be involved, and then the solution will come. So on the cross-borders issue, there is a very clear dispute resolution on these issues of settlement, because there is also this so-called the financial the compliance. The compliance with international laws, which is where you also need to check in. As lawyers, there is something called FATF recommendation. There is anti-money laundering, counterterrorism, terrorism, counterfeiting, and all those kind of issues. So as lawyers, you need to have those. So there are very clear regulation, and even the dispute mechanism are there to make sure that those kind of issues are well handled. Thank you.
Excellent. Ametendea haki kabisa. Makofi mengi. Ladies and gentlemen, and in addition, in order to do justice to Joseph's question, I'm very delighted to inform you that we also have a fintech lawyer who combines, these skills and law. So I'll give him or her 2 minutes to add if there's anything to add from what Jesse has said. Karibu sana.
Asante. I'm Akle Chaula. I'm working with the Deposit Insurance Board, the liquidator of...
Wanaomba uje mbele huku. Alafu ni Gen Z, makofi kwake. Hawa watu wana skill sets nyingi kidogo.
Asante. Naitwa Akle Chaula, ni mwanasheria wa Deposit Insurance Board. Tuna undertake liquidation, na labda nitaka ni share experience kwa kuangalia issue ya insolvency na rights. Kwenye liquidation naifanya sasa hivi kuna benki ya FBMA ambayo
wanahitaji wa kusikia vizuri,
ambayo ilikuwa ina operation Tanzania lakini pia Cyprus. Inaweza kukupa mfano mzuri namna gani tumehandle issue ya rights za creditors. Kinachokuwa kina determine hasa ni namna gani ile benki ina operate kwenye jurisdiction. Kwa Tanzania tunafuata model ambayo tunasema subsidiary model. Under subsidiary model ni kwamba benki ikiwa Tanzania ni kampuni separate to another entity iliyoko nje ya Tanzania. Lakini European wao wana branch model. Sasa kwa nature FBME, when it was coming here, ilikuwa already in a branch Cyprus. So ilivyokuja kuregister subsidiary hapa, ile branch iliendelea cooperate. And that was the reason tulipata changamoto sana tunafanya liquidation. Only what we did ambayo ni practice ni kwamba tuliingia liquidation framework agreement, ambao kule waka point liquidator ambaye sisi tukam designate kama agent. Kwa hiyo upande wa kwetu sisi tunafanya liquidation ya FBME hapa separate in a way to ile ya Cyprus. Kwa hiyo tuna list ya creditors ambao tunafuata sheria za Tanzania hapa as far as creditors wa hapa, lakini different na kule Cyprus. The only difference ni how do we treat the asset collection, tuna collect pamoja, tumeagree formula ya kudispute. Lakini branch model ilikuwa upande wa Greenland. Greenland ilianzia Uganda, for those of you who remember, I think it was somewhere around pale Samora. Kwa hiyo ilikuwa liquidated differently. Ya Uganda ilikuwa liquidated separate from ya Tanzania. Only that tuliendelea kuihold mpaka baadhi ya asset ambazo zilikuwa zinatokea Uganda kuja Tanzania ili tuweze kuendelea kulipa. Lakini creditors wanakuwa treated different depending on the model that was used at the registration stage. Asante.
Makofi mengi kwa wakili. Fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, makofi pia kwa Jesse as he goes to sit. Now it's that important time where we stretch, go have some food, and come back here for a very, very important presentation. The question that will be answered by the presenter, who is the president of the association, is how do we balance life and work, right? Not to be burnt out, tukashindwa kutimiza majukumu yetu, lakini tusiwe wavivu. Kwa hiyo I can assure you is one of the most important presentations you have had this year. Kwa hiyo tafadhali wai, karibuni chakula. Kwenye ratiba we are rewarding in terms of making sure that the rest of the program flows naturally. So karibuni, the food is served outside here unless the secretariat has any in-house housekeeping matters to announce. Any? I think there's none. Kwa hiyo karibuni chakula, you can stretch and walk to the dining where food is served.